Hello, we're back. We are back to be talking about the IPL auction which got over, and we are here to analyze every team in depth. So expect this to be a very long live. It is a Christmas Eve, and we are here to talk about what has happened or the post-mortem of the IPL auction. Rather, welcome everybody on the show once again. I hope you're doing very well. Welcome, Jaren, on the show. How are you feeling? How did the IPL auction go for you?
Well, Abel, I did not end up with a very good deal at the auction. So unfortunately, I think I'll be just spending time with you talking here instead of being in one of the camps. But yeah, I think overall, some exciting buys, really, some unknown talents, and very interested to see because this auction, unlike I think many of the auctions, it is a auction which meant the transition period for some of the teams like Mumbai, CSK, Delhi as well. You would say to an extent where looking to revamp, looking for the future, while some other teams obviously looking to do a complete do-over with, I think, the likes of Punjab as always. Every year is a do-over for them, and then you've got the likes of Sunrisers as well. You felt like these teams needed a bit of a makeover as well, for the next season. So some interesting buys, yeah.
Of course, that's something which we did expect as well. But overall, when we talk about mini auction, the dynamics are always very interesting, right? We have seen players like Jai Richardson get big money. We have seen players like Wiley Meredith fetch a lot of money. Chris Morris go for a lot of money. Likewise, even in this auction, you saw players like Sam Curran fetch a huge sum of money alongside someone like Cameron Green. How do you see the dynamics of the mini auction player? Because often what happens is that we tend to misconstrue the dynamics of an auction, especially something like a mini auction, because uh, mini auction is somewhere you want to splurge your money on what you want. The demand is what will overweigh the kind of supply what you have. So demand is such that you will really want to go out there and splurge all the money what you have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, because the fact that these teams are not looking to rebuild their squad, so as to say, because every mega auction, all every team has the same amount of slots, and they have to fill in the exact number of, or at least somewhat similar to the amount of slots, and a lot of teams have to fill up a lot of slots. So that means that there's not enough money to spend on one particular person. When it comes to mini auction, teams are looking for specific things. They Some of the teams are full in terms of their what do you say, in terms of the slots that they have to fill, and they don't have as much money left. On the other hand, there will be some teams who have to do, try and reset the whole process and start a new era, really. And that's the reason why mini auction becomes so much more interesting in these ways, because teams are ready to spend a lot more, lot more money now in the mini auction, because they want that particular player to keep with them. And we saw that this time auction. But one thing is for sure, not a lot of surprises in terms of who got the top bucks, right? Every year there is this one surprise that you would see every year, that someone surprised. I think not many people expected Chris Morris to go for that, for
Yeah.
16 crores. But this time around, people did expect Sam Curran and Cameron Green and even Ben Stokes to go for that kind of money, and it has happened. One surprise probably in that top five is Nicholas Puran. Aside from that, I think everyone got pretty much what they were expecting.
Absolutely. Welcome, Sandeep Bani, on the show. I hope you're doing good. Of course, we are here to be definitely dissecting every team in depth. I know I was just talking to Jen about how the mini auction went for a lot of teams. I just want to know your perspective on the mini auction, because often what we've seen is that mini auction is where you get to fill certain holes, especially just to buy the backups. When you talk about that, are you seeing a lot of teams had a very good day at the auction in terms of stocking their resources in terms of backup? Because remember, this season you have something called as an impact player as well for the first ever time in IPL. So you are not really looking at a playing 11, you're also looking at these impact players to come in as a super sub.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the super sub or the impact player getting into effect, we have seen that it was successful when it was applied. Way back in the 2006, there was this sort of substitution where you could sort of change a player after the first innings. In ODIs, it was introduced, but then it fell off. And then even in BBL, we have seen that. The Australian Cricket Board have always gone on to experiment, and they have really supported this sort of initiatives, be it the impact player or the power play usage that the teams get. And then there are X factor players. There are so many things that the domestic circuit do. And I think this impact substitution is going to be the reintroduction is going to be successful, because we are at a day and age where the strike rate is no longer overrated. So it comes a time when impact is the most important thing. Your name, your whatever you're bringing to the team, your experience, all that is fine, but until and unless you can get into the pitch and do the job for the team, nothing actually matters. So having said that, I think I was yeah, like Jaden said, it was an expectable, like we were expecting Cameron Green, Sam Curran, Ben Stokes to go for the higher bucks, but I was really surprised with Nicholas Puran raking in 16 crores again, and also Harry Brooks. I
Yeah.
think
I mean, we
he's
will
another
talk
player.
about it. We'll definitely talk about how it really fits into the dynamics. We'll actually talk
Yeah,
about the playing 11 as well, as we talk about LSG, as we talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad. Kapil, I'll have two words for it: shambolic. Shambolic performance. That's it. Just shambolic. If you can't go to Bangladesh and really dominate them, and you're struggling at what 45 for 4 today, can't play spin, can't play quality pace. Your captain is in absolute disarray in terms of not scoring runs. I have no idea, man. I have really no idea what should I talk about Indian team performance. I was very happy that I was not watching Indian cricket for a while and I was watching football. It just gave me a lot of peace of mind. It was a lot more satisfying rather to see Messi lift the World Cup. At least some bit of success. I was able to actually relish as a sports fan, because on the flip side of things, when it comes to the subcontinent Indian team, they are a very good team. There's no doubt about that. But then
definitely it
Team
was
India,
one of the best things to experience Messi go on and win that World Cup, but it was
yeah.
equally painful to experience India have a series loss in the ODIs against Bangladesh, and a series that had Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli playing in it.
I know.
So,
Well, let's not talk about it rather,
yeah,
because I think we will talk about it in depth right after this. We'll have a special episode on that. And thank you all for showering a lot of love on that episode. What we did, we've almost got 35K views on that video where what we spoke about, what is next for Team India. We did talk a lot about that in it. Even then, we are not seeing any improvement from where they left off in the World Cup semi-final. There's no iota of improvement is the saddest part over here. Now that's very saddening. That's very disappointing as an Indian cricket fan. Jaren, what do you like to say about that Indian
See,
team's
I
performance?
think
And before that, Carlo,
Indian
I
fans
really thank
were.
you. Muchas gracias, Mr. Carlo Fernandez. It's fantastic to have you join us through the course of the World Cup. We've been able to cover a World Cup in depth. That was one of the best times for us as well. And Teju, we will talk about it. Cameron Ginn, what has he done except the Indian series? We will be talking about that first. We'll be talking about the five-time defending champions to start off with. But Jaren, just a word on Indian cricket before we talk about every team in particular.
Well, I'll start on a positive note to Carlo Fernandez. Muchas gracias from my side as well. I think all of you all really, because it was something that we started with football. I, for once, really got into football just before the World Cup. So it was great for me to really see that kind of the craze that, the football fans follow, and what a World Cup it was, really. And it was really something I needed after the World T20 World Cup as well. But guys, I mean, we have complained about how Indian team was only winning the bilateral series. I think at least now we're not winning anything. So something has changed. It's not just for the better. That's all I can say. But what I see, Abel Sandipani, is I think the system has really been rocked, and the players really seem to be drained. Because that's what I felt today. What I saw today was much more mental, right? Once Nurul, Tuskin, and once Bangladesh lost a counter attack, it just seemed like India did not expect it. India expected Bangladesh to roll over, but you have to realize this Bangladeshi team in Bangladesh is a very difficult team to beat. They haven't lost a one-day series, I think, ever since 2016, if I'm not wrong. And I think 2019 as well, when India came to Bangladesh last, India were humiliated. This time around as well, the same thing has happened. And today's pitch, it is a tough pitch to bat on. I'll give you that, but it is not like you're batting on a tough pitch in South Africa. You're batting in a tough pitch in India. I mean, in Indian subcontinent rather, and it's not anything different from what you faced in India. It's pretty much the same. It's probably even. I mean, I would have to say that Bangladeshi spinners are great at home, but Indian batters should be better than this, and it is just unexpected, unacceptable. Really, 45 for 4. Yes, it's a tough pitch to bat on, but having to,
and if I may just add, I mean, it's not just about the pitch. I think the defensive mindset from the players.
Yeah.
Shubman Gill tried to launch one delivery after defending for 34 straight deliveries. So you can't expect a player to sort of
Yeah, I
getting
mean,
into
it
a
makes a
shell
lot of
And I think
sense, you know.
India's
I'll also add
glaring
one point
woes
to this,
against the
Jaren
left
and
arm
Sandeep Bani.
spin. Yeah.
That's where I feel, something like baseball, which people have been heavily praising about, that those kind of approach does work in pitches like that, where you're trying to counter attack, try to score runs. Because if you're trying to get into a shell, you will get out to a ball, and that's exactly what happened with Virat
And the
Kohli,
best
Shubman Gill,
example
with
and the
everybody.
best illustration for that is the Pujara century. Pujara changed his game when he realized in the second innings that India could not lose from there. They had nothing to lose. He was going after his century. He was going down the track, attacking the bowlers, and he got that century because it was an easy pitch to bat on. He did not look to sort of defend deliveries and wait for bowlers to give him the opportunity. He was creating his opportunities. And I think when players tend to go out of their comfort zone and try something and take that risk, and I think this is the day and age where you have to take certain risks. Just getting into a shell and expecting that the bowlers will get tired eventually does not work, especially in subcontinent conditions where you have spinners operating from both ends.
Today, Sanjay Manjurikar made a very interesting point, where he was talking about how two different generations and what is their best way to score runs in Test cricket. So he was saying in 80s and 70s, the reliance on defensive or their defense was so much that they believed that they could actually get out of faces with their strong defense. But now the modern players are naturally attacking players. They're so used to playing strokes. They're so used to playing white ball format. Their best way of defense is to attack. That's the only way they can get out of a situation. Hence, an approach like baseball is very relevant. Hence, an approach like baseball is much more effective to the modern generation than trying to grind it out or trying to play the gritty brand of cricket, which maybe Indian team or any team do not have it in them. Even though they might be technically very sound, but if they're trying to get into a shell, it might not work for them. Because nowadays, when the pitches are such that there'll be one ball with the name on you, and where you might have faced 50 balls by just scoring 5 runs. That's all. It's not going to add any value to your team. Whereas you can score possibly an impact 20 in a chase like 140, which can absolutely shift the momentum on your favor. So that's what I'll talk about that couple. And we will now move on to the first team. We'll talk about a team which really had one of the most horrifying seasons last time around. They just not really get going. It's the last 2 times they could not really make it out of the group as well. Because of course there were transitions, there were definite holes which this team had to really fill up. It is the 5-time champions. It is Mumbai Indians, which you're going to talk about. So this is the team, Mumbai Indians. This we have got the new additions as well on the left hand side, where you can see Raghav Gopal, Nehal Vadera, Shams Mulani from Mumbai, the local boy. Vishnu Vinod from Kerala. I've been a huge fan of him for a very long period of time. But if you look at the last part of the chart, you can see Cam Green and Jair Chichin, two of their biggest acquisitions. Once again, like last time, Jaren, they have gone and targeted one player they wanted, and they've splurged everything on that one player, isn't it, Jaren?
I mean, yes, absolutely, and that's what I told you about Mumbai Indians as well, right? When we're talking about when we're doing the watch along, that's what Mumbai does. They'll always be sitting at the auction table. You will not see where they are. You won't see them bid like how SRH or Punjab or even a Delhi does, right? But all these teams do, or even a Rajasthan Royals, what these teams do is if they don't want a player as well, they'll still somehow get involved. They'll try something. They'll try probably inflate the prices, but you won't see Mumbai do that as often as the other teams. What Mumbai really does is they stay silent. They're always on the prowl. They know that one player or they know a few players they need, and then they just go after them hell for leather. And that's what they did with Cam Green. But talking about Cam Green, Abel, I don't really know if he's a fit for this Mumbai Indians team. As I said, I was hearing Parth Jindal talk about, because Delhi was one more team which really went after Cam Green, and he spoke about how they were looking to, reposition their batting lineup in order to fit Cam Green in as an opener. I don't know if Mumbai will try something like that. There was a big discussion in the Geo Cinema panel as well about this, but I really don't think they should, because whom do you push down really? You push Suryakumar Yadav down, Ishan Kishan down, Rohit Sharma down. These three players really need to stay on the top or in the top three. If you push them down any lower, I think you just lose their efficiency. Rohit Sharma is not the player who was the player who could fit in the top in the number 4 position once, like how Mumbai used to when Tendulkar used to be part of this team, and even for some time after that. But Rohit Sharma is not that player anymore in T20 cricket. At least you cannot put him at number four. Ishan Kishan in a similar fashion. We've seen in T20 cricket it takes some time, right, to get going. And so the only player you really might sacrifice is Suryakumar Yadav. That's just not fair to him because in this Mumbai Indians team, and not just in Mumbai Indians team, I think it wouldn't be unfair to say that Suryakumar Yadav is India's probably best T20 player at this point in time and
Or
best
not
player
just
in your
India,
T20 team.
best player in the
Yeah,
world at this point, I feel.
yeah, best player in the world, in fact, and because no one, I think that's freakish to have that kind of average and strike rate together. So yeah, I think fair enough. He is the best T20 player in the world right now, and you cannot put him at anything below number four because number three rather because you need to make sure he plays at least 60 to 65 balls. If he doesn't, he's not going to give you that impact. It's just not fair because he isn't an Andre Russell kind of a player, right? Where if you give him too many deliveries, one ball is going to go high in the air and you're going to get out, or he isn't even that. I wouldn't say. I mean, I know he can do these roles, but it is not where he's at his best. So I think that's why Cam Green probably will only slot in, at least in my sense, where Kyron Pollard did, and that's where I feel he is not very effective there because he doesn't have the kind of range that a player at number seven, number six is required in this era of T20 cricket.
I mean, you did mention Pat Jindal there. I thought another team who really had a mess of an auction day was Delhi Capitals. They had no planning. They went for a lot of top order bats when they already had so many of them on in their wings or in their squad. Satyamani, coming to you because we did speak about how Cameron Green can be a possible fit at number five, number six. But when you talk about number five, number six for this team, they already have a Tim David who's a player who they've relied heavily upon. They've spent what 7 crores on Tim David in the last auction. They did not play majority of the season. They went for Deval Brewis, and once again they've retained Deval Brewis for a reason because they see something out of him.
Yeah, I think with the with the Mumbai Indian squad, I think we can pretty much sum up what will be the probable 11 for the side. Because for me, Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma opening is a no-brainer for me. Then Surya Kumar Yadav, Tilak Verma at number 3 and number 4, depending on the left hand right hand combination that you want for your team. I think Team David is going to slot in at number 5 for me. And since they have spent 17.5 crores on Cameron Green, I think he will make it at number 6 for the team. And that will mean that they will not have a place for either of Devil Brevis or Tristan Stubbs. Based on, I think, Tim David's form or probably Cameron Green's form, they'll see how he goes about
Or
in the
else,
initial
uh,
matches.
or else, they can maybe play Cameron Green at number five, Tim David at six, and at seven they can possibly try
They
out
have
another
Ritik
option.
Shawkin at number 7. They have Ritik Shawkin at number 7, who is
Or
a
maybe
descendant of
Ramandeep Singh as well.
but
Ramandeep Singh or
yeah,
Ritik Shawkin at number
Ramandeep
seven.
Singh and Ritik Shawkin at 7 and 8. And if Jofra Archer is fit, then I think this Mumbai Indians side has, even though they had if you ask me, they had the worst of auctions because going after Cameron Green for 17.5 crores does not make any sense. And if you just look at the list, I think the best
And
buy
and,
that
and
they have.
Sandeep, I'll give you another option as well. Playing Ritik Shawkin at number seven, I still think is way too higher up the order for Ritik Shawkin. He's not the most established batter
Okay,
at
no, no,
number
I mean
seven.
Ramandeep Singh is a good
But
enough batter for number 7 for
or
Mumbai
else,
Indians.
or else they can possibly put Tim David at seven, Cameron Green at six, then maybe Tilak Verma at five, and Devol Brothers at four. That elongates their batting order, but
No, but
it also means
I wanted
everybody
to have
batting
this
one position
combination
lower.
where they have two foreign pacers. The success for Mumbai Indians have always been their pace attack, and you need somebody to support Bumrah. We saw Daniel Sams and Riley Meredith were not able to do the job for them last season around, but this time around, I think Jai Richardson is their best buy this auction. He has been in red hot form in the BBL recently. The fitness is a huge cause of concern for Richardson, but if he is able to make it to the side, and there is also Berendorf in the team, so you can have the combination of, if Archer is fit, you can have Archer, Richardson, Tim David, and Cameron Green as your four foreign option players. Along with, you have the Indian talents that can go on to win matches for you. So I think this is the combination that they would ideally opt for, given obviously Jofra Archer is fit. If Jofra Archer is not fit, then I think they'll have to probably try out Devil Brevis or Tristan Stubbs, and then I'll go with your combination that you can try out Tristan Stubbs or Devil Brevis at number 4, and then you can have an Indian bowler at number 10 or 11. They have youngsters in the fast bowling ranks, And that is where I was really disappointed with them, with the way they went about in the auction. Because just see the list: 17.5 crores on Cameron Green, 1.5 crores on Jared Jetson. You don't have any money to buy anybody else. None of they don't have another experienced fast bowler, Indian fast bowler, who can go on and support Bumrah. So they'll have to rely on Jofra Archer and their foreign talents. And I think Richardson is going to be very critical for them in this season. And I think he is going to be their X factor player and not Cameron Green, because Cameron Green will
As you
have
just
a
mentioned,
massive
Jai
pressure.
Richardson, there is a possibility of not even playing Jai Richardson and going with Cameron Green as your second pacer. Jen, your thoughts on using Cameron Green's bowling? Because here you have brought him as a whole package, not just as a batter. We understand his batting ability can be really exposed of in conditions like India, and his limited range, especially to bat in the middle order, can be a factor which will come to haunt them at some point or stage in the tournament, especially when they travel away from Mumbai. But now talking about his bowling ability, he can crank it up to 140 Ks, especially when it comes to his bowling. We've all seen him in test format at least, where he can come in and ball those spells where he can create a bit of momentum on your team, and where he can create those moments which can really, really change the course of the game also. So how do you see Mumbai Indians using Camden as a second overseas pacer alongside Jofra Archer and playing maybe another Indian seamer, because now they have option to play even Arjun Tendulkar there, because Arjun Tendulkar has been
Yeah.
having a very decent season. Or else they can maybe go for another Indian spinner, Kumar Kartikeya, who they have really, really invested heavily upon. And they really see something out of Kumar Kartikeya as well. Because if you
And
remember
also, I think
last
Kumar
season,
Kartikeya has been very, very good with his performance and consistent with his performance in the domestic side. He is a Ranji Trophy winner with Madhya Pradesh. So I think he has been bowling lots in the nets, and I think he will come to the side with good form. He'll come into the IPL hopefully with good form as well. And with, especially with the inexperienced bowling attack, apart from Bumrah, and if Jofra Archer is not fit, then you don't have another the same problem. Mumbai Indians will have the same problem. They don't have another bowler to support Bumrah. One of the youngsters will have to step up and have an incredible IPL, and probably go on to win the, if Mumbai Indians are to do well, one of the Mumbai Indian bowlers have to go on and win the best emerging player this season.
for sure, for sure. Jen, your thoughts?
For me, well, Cameron Green, I feel, is a much better bowler at this point in time in white ball cricket than a batter. And the reason I say that is because I think there was a comment here somewhere. I think it was by Azul who said he's got an average of 16 and a strike rate of 137. It used to be much worse. It was only because he was, pushed up the order that it became a little better than this. I think he's still, I can understand why you're going for him at the stage, because he's a very young player. He's someone who's going to grow a lot. And Australia, I mean, Cricket Australia is heavily invested in this guy. They want him to be, what probably they expected Mitchell Marsh to be, because it's similar kind of plans that I feel Cricket Australia has for Cam Green, and I think he's going to improve a lot. And especially the fact that he's in this Mumbai team. But the only issue for me here is the fact that his batting never really fits this team. But as a bowler, I think he can do very well at Wankhede, because he's someone who's got a very good. He's someone who hits the deck hard, and he can make the ball. I wouldn't say he'll not make the ball swing, but he can make the ball move a little bit off the pitch. And he's got a very good bouncer as well, a surprise bouncer. I think kind of like what Hardik Pandya or Shane Watson used to ball once upon a time. So that's what he can bring to the table. So I think he's a very good bowler, which you can probably put him as number four, third or fourth seamer. But I really was a bit surprised that Mumbai did not go for someone like Mukesh Kumar, because I felt he could really be a player who could, have supported someone like Jasprit Bumrah, something that Sandivani mentioned as well, because he's done well in domestic circuit for India. He's gotten called up in the Test and the ODI squad as well. So he is no mop with the ball. He could have been that player that could have actually solved a lot of their issues in terms of their foreign players. The conundrum of the foreign players as well.
Yeah, and I think that actually makes sense, because talking about Mukesh Kumar, and I think that is the will obviously come to Delhi Capitals in some time. But talking about Mukesh Kumar, I think he is probably one of the best buys that Delhi Capitals have managed to make this season, because Mumbai Indians definitely lack a good bowler that can actually go on and support Jasprit Bumrah. Uh, in the meantime, I think both of them have lost their connection.
No, no, Sandipani, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Abel has lost it.
Yeah, I think he will lost the connection. But
Yeah, but
I mean, yeah.
it's good to see
Sorry,
that
sorry.
Mumbai at least have the option of trying Ritik Shokin and Kumar Kartikeya, because these were the players that were trying to emerge out of that last year's horrifying performances that Mumbai Indians displayed in the first 8 games. But I think the only positives out of that tournament would be Tilak Verma and probably Ritik Shokin and Kumar Kartikeya for them.
I mean, that's what I feel. Either Mumbai might. I really hope Mumbai doesn't change their batting order a lot for Camp Green to justify it, because I feel that'll be unfair to the top three. Especially, I think the one who'll be really affected by it is going to be Tilak Verma, because he's the most least profile player, as you would say. Because it so happens many a times, it happens, right, where a player does so well, but then the franchise buys someone to fit in and to try and make sure that he is getting what he wants. I have to adjust with a player like Tilak Verma. I really hope he doesn't go further down the order, because I feel he can do a very good job at number four, number five. Not number four, probably he might not get that, but I think
I
he
I
can do
want
think
a
Tilak
number
great
Verma
job
to
at
four
number
bat
is
at
five.
number 3 or number 4. If Ishan Kishan gets out early, I think the moment Ishan Kishan gets out, Tilak Verma should step in. And Rohit Sharma, if Rohit Sharma gets out, Surya Kumar Yadav should come in at number 3 or 4 based on their positions. I don't want to see a Devil Brevis or probably a Tristan Stubbs coming in at number. Tristan Stubbs will, if he
But
plays, will obviously not come in at number 3 and number 4. But Devil Brevis, I don't want to see Devil Brevis coming in as a pinch hitter at number 3, number 4, because you have two informed players. Both Tilak Verma and Surya Kumar Yadav were informed players for Mumbai Indians last time around, and they did not use them well. I think too much shuffling around in at
now,
the
now
top order
looking
and the
back
bowling.
at stuff, I really think Cameron Ginn's addition into the squad does not really add any benefit, or does not add
I mean,
any
even the
bonus to the
only way I
squad at all.
see things working out right now is they put Cam Green up with Rohit Sharma to open the batting, and that's not a bad idea, by the way, because Rohit Sharma loves batting with explosive opening batters. I've always said this. I've said this time and time again, that the only reason why Rohit Sharma, I feel, is not doing so well in T20 cricket with India is because he's had to, bat along with KL Rahul. Not to take anything away from KL Rahul, he's a very good player, but both of them opening together means it's a slow start for India. And Rohit feels like it is his responsibility to go after the bowling. And I don't think he's very comfortable with that. But with Cam Green doing that for him, it might actually help Rohit Sharma settle down a little bit. And then what they might do is push Ishan Kishan down, then Suryakumar Yadav, then Tilak Verma, and then so
But
on.
if Ishan
Let's
Kishan
see.
goes down, then probably they would try to replicate what Ishan Kishan did for them in 2019 or 2019, I think it was, when he came in at number 5 or number 6 in that middle order slot. They used to sort of shuffle between Kairan Pollard and Ishan Kishan, and there was this one famous game where they managed to chase down
But I
90
mean,
overs,
Sanjana,
90
my
runs in the
question
last
is
five
this
overs.
now: is that Ishan Kishan the Ishan Kishan we're dealing with now in T20 cricket? Because he seems
I
like
mean, I
he's
mean, to be very
got the
honest,
same fever to the
That is the
same
problem with all the Indian players that go on to play for Team India. They think that it is
right.
their responsibility to stay at the wicket, stay at the crease, and sort of take
No,
the
I
no,
mean,
see,
initial.
I like the way
yeah,
how Ishan Kishan approaches one day format. He's like got this knack of crack. He's actually found a mojo to crack that format at this point. He's playing at a very good rate in the one day format. He's able to really play with a lot of freedom, manipulate the
but
field,
issue able
and
is
also
he's playing at
use.
the same rate in T20 cricket as well.
That's the issue. That's the issue. Same thing with Rishabh Pant, right? A lot of players who have been able to crack the longer format are now unable to crack the T20 format, who came through the T20 format. Now, all these
Yeah.
players made their name as T20 players. Now, all of a sudden, have forgotten to play the format which they actually made name for themselves at. So that's a very funny thing at this point. I really do not know what is the reason behind it. Maybe they've actually focused a lot more on the longer format, which made sure that shorter formats really took a hit. And I think that's one of the factor to it. That's one of the reasons I keep telling back. You need to have specialists for T20 format,
Yeah.
and T20 specialists shouldn't be playing any other format. But having said that, now they've spent 16.5 crores on Nishan Kishan, 17.25 on Cameron Green. How do you see this team? If I have to put up a starting 11, a probable 11, do you see Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma opening, number 3 Surya Kumar Yadav, Devol Bruvis number 4, or Tilak Verma number 4, 5 Cameron Green, 6 Tim David, 7 Ritik Shokin, 8 Archer, and maybe 9 could be Kartikeya, then Jasprit Bumrah, and one more Indian pacer in the likes of maybe Arjun Tendulkar. Arshad is a good one, new addition into the team. Any one of them, isn't it?
Definitely, I mean
And
that is the only way to go about it. And if especially if Jofra Archer is not fit, I think this team is again going to crumble like they did in the last season, because they just don't have the resources. Mumbai Indians lacked resources in the last auction. They went very aggressively to buy Ishan Kishan, and that hampered them to buy some other players. And this time around, they went very aggressively towards buying Cameron Green, and that have very negatively impacted this auction process as well. Because apart from Cameron Green and Jai Richardson, I think the other players, it's just a gamble. All the players are scouts, and I think it will be very difficult for them, and it will be too much if you ask of them to just come in the first season and dominate for you. So I think this Mumbai Indians team is going through a transition, and uh,
But
they
how
did not
long will
have
they
the
be
best
going
of
under the
options.
transition, right? We've been talking about that transition period, which has been taking a way too long a period of time now. Their batting seems still all right, but their bowling, if Jofra Archer comes back, do you think that'll solve a lot of issues for them? Or still there are holes in this team which are quite evident, or the holes which are
people,
very tough for them to fill at this point?
I mean, so I'll say this first off, right? We don't know which Jofra Archer really returns. For that, we'll have to wait till the South Africa series where he's been selected for the ODI squad for England. We'll have to see how Jofra Archer comes back, because the kind of injury spell that he's had, it changes the body of a fast bowler, of a bowler itself, right? We've seen that with the shoulder injury that happened to Shane Warne, for instance, how he had to really come back. He became a very different bowler. He stopped bowling the flippers a lot more. He became a classical leg spinner in many ways, and that's where you would have to argue that we don't know if Jofra Archer comes back really, and that's why if now if he is the same Jofra Archer that comes back, yes, many of those bowling problems are solved, because then the teams will have to look at 12 overs really, because Bumrah, Jofra Archer, two really difficult bowlers to get away with. But if he is not the same Jofra Archer, then the problems really are exaggerated, if not really glaring. Because then now would you have, even with Jofra Archer coming back, then who are the three other foreign players that you pick up? Because you've invested heavily in Tristan Stubbs, especially someone like Devil Brewis. You've really looked at him as a future. Now he has no space in your team because Cam Green is here, right? You have to fit him. You have to justify the price tag. So he really goes out. And if that's the case, then the kind of investment you've put in him, that really goes out of the window. And
Yeah,
if I am Devil Brewis, I won't be happy about the fact that I'm not getting enough playtime with Mumbai Indians.
yeah. I
And
mean,
not just that, and also talking about the injuries, you spoke about Jofra Archer, and I think another player very much prone to injuries is Jai Richardson. I think he just played two
Bumrah
games
as
in the
well.
last BBL. He just got fit before this BBL, and that has impacted his international career as well. He was in red hot form when he got injured last season around. He had picked up some 4 5 wickets in 2 games. This time around, he has picked up 11 12 wickets in 4 games. But then again, the injury has repeated itself throughout his course of playing in the BBL, playing in any tournament that he goes
considering the
for.
injury factor, even Jasprit Bumrah is under the injury loom at
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
point
and
where,
also Berendorf is all the fast bowlers, all the experienced fast bowlers have been prone to injuries in the past. So I am very
right.
concerned about Mumbai Indians right now. They
And
might
also,
not
also having
be.
said
One
that,
player,
there's also the
one
World
player that
Cup
I'm really
year.
interested, guys, is Duan Jansen, the younger twin of Marco Jansen, because I remember hearing about him along with Marco Jansen, right? Because they were net ballers for India when India had gone that South Africa tour, and Virat Kohli really struggled against him from the reports that I read. He both of them, right? It was obvious Marco Jansen and Duan Jansen. He's another player I think really interested to see how his growth is, because just as his elder brother, not by much, I think he's also a talent that will really come about age in this
But even
Mumbai
then,
camp,
you're putting a lot of
putting a lot of
expectation on
pressure
him
on
at this
him.
point.
Yes,
Lots
I
of
yes.
don't think
expectations
that's
and
the right
pressure
way to
on
go
this
about
Mumbai
it.
Indians team.
Then if
I'm
you're
really scared
saying that
for
the
them.
Mumbai Indians is not going to even qualify once again, if you're going to rely heavily on Yuvan Janssen, but
Yeah.
even talking about Jasprit Bumrah, there, this is a World Cup year. I'm not sure if Jasprit Bumrah himself would want to really risk everything for the IPL and miss out on another World Cup. Remember, Jason Bumrah
And
missed out.
that would be so disheartening for the Indian side, because I don't want any player to sort of risk themselves for the IPL. If you, even if you have a little bit of issue heading into the IPL, just sit out for a couple of games, probably come in later if it is needed. If not needed, just sit it out, because IPL will again get it next year, but a World Cup in India will probably have to wait for another 12-16 years to get it.
And we also have a comment which says Rohit Sharma should quit. Interesting. I mean, though he has won 5 IPL titles, right? Even Kyron Pollard is part of the 5 IPL titles. Kyron Pollard, we can say, was a bigger match winner than Rohit Sharma on his day when it comes to the impact
IPL has
yes, yes,
never
yes.
been Rohit Sharma's show, honestly, because once he went
Yeah.
out from Deccan Chargers, once he
So
came
do
from
you
Deccan Chargers
carry
to
a
Mumbai
player
Indians.
just because he's a captain, or do you play him for his performance? When you look
Just
at his
play him for
performance
his
in the last
performance.
three
I think Rohit
seasons,
Sharma is still fine. He's fine. He'll come good for
I mean,
when India needs
that's
him. He'll come good.
we've been telling this for last 5 years and he's not yet come good in IPL. So is there time running out for Rohit Sharma in the Mumbai Indians team? Because
Definitely, the clock
this
is
team
ticking.
really looks at success more than any other team, and this team really rates success as a player because they've really asked Kyron Pollard that we're looking past you. So it's not far away that they might even go ask Rohit Sharma. See, if the time is up for you, we might want to look at younger players and they would want to shift on the captaincy bat. Now, what is he? 35? You can't keep on captaining forever. Of course, there's definitely a time limit even for or a shelf life of captaincy as well. Maybe the right time to look beyond Rohit Sharma, look at a younger face. Maybe this is the Rohit Sharma's biggest season. It's a make or break for Rohit Sharma also. If he goes on to have a very poor IPL next season, you never know. With the Mumbai franchise, they can be very ruthless in terms of decision making.
Probably see how Rohit Sharma goes about in this IPL. This team is going through a transition phase, and I think the management will understand, and I think they'll give him another couple of seasons at least, because he has been the captain of 5 IPL winning
Yeah,
sides. Although the sides were terrific, but still, yeah.
I mean, that's something which is now seen everywhere. Now, Rohit Sharma did really have a very good side to really support him. Jen, coming back to you on that question, because it's a very interesting take. Ultimately, it's about your team's success. You can't really roam around a player because Mumbai Indians is a franchise which will be remembered for Mumbai Indians, but not for Rohit Sharma. And this has to move on. It's not like Rohit Sharma is going to play in 2030 saying that he has won 5 titles from the period of 2010 to 2020. It's time to move on. He's 35 now, 36 almost at the start. Maybe as next season starts, he's going to be 36. Definitely not that age is not in his favor. When it comes to his batting form, it's not been in his favor. Fitness has never been in his favor. He's barely captained India. He's no, he's always fit for Mumbai Indians for sure. But when it comes to even his fitness for Mumbai Indians, it's always been under the scanner. So how do you see Mumbai Indians management pursuing? I know they rate him really highly. They rate him as the number one, numero uno. That's he is the first name on the sheet as any Mumbai Indians team is put out. But ultimately, when you want to pass on the baton and look at a transition, you have to start from the captain himself, isn't it?
For me, Abel, I still want to see how Rohit Sharma does with an explosive opening partner because just going through some of his stats, his best career, I mean, strike rate came in 2015 when his opening partner was Lendl Simmons. And I think equally when
He did not
Butler
open in
used to be
2015, Jaren. He did not open in 2015. He came at number 4 majorly.
correct. Actually, he did come in number four, but I think that's where I feel even then, if you look at that Mumbai Indians team, right, you saw some explosive batting at the top of the order with Lendl Simmons and I think it was Richard Levy as well in that era, if I'm not wrong,
No,
even.
that was not a chill. I think it was
Um,
Daniel Simmons. They also had another Indian opener there, so I'm not sure who it was.
was it Parthiv Patel?
They no, Pathipata was 2017. So 2015 they had Lendl Simmons and they had Aaron Finch for a brief while.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah.
can't really recall the third name. Who was also opening with Lendl Simmons in that
But I
IPL.
I
mean, if
just
you look at
remember
how
Ambati Raidu was an integral part of that team, and I also remember that 2015 Rohit Sharma, he used to just be the anchor, and he used to play his natural game. But I agree to your point to a certain aspect, because the time he opened with Chris Lean, he just opened with Chris Lean in one game last season, and not last season, probably 2 seasons back, and he had a good game. He got along well. So I think an explosive partner at the other end will definitely release a lot of pressure off from Rohit Sharma, and I think that is the only point where Mumbai Indians were actually struggling towards the earlier parts of the last IPL, because Ishan Kishan was getting burdened with that price tag, and he was not just going after the bowling in the first
Yeah.
4 5 overs, building a lot
I,
of pressure on Rohit Sharma.
I mean, for me, so that's where I think if you had Tejas mentioned QDK as well. I think these are the kind of players that Rohit Sharma requires. Someone who goes after the bowling, so that Rohit Sharma can take his time, get his eye in, and then go after the bowling. I think that's where he's a lot better as a player, as a player in T20 cricket. So you want to see this Cameron Green Rohit Sharma duo if it
There was
happens.
Parthiv Patel who was opening with Lionel
Yeah, it
Simmons.
was Parthiv Patel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where, right? So I think Lendl Simmons and Rohit Sharma had some good partnerships. If I'm not wrong, if I believe correctly, because I don't have the stats for them, but as far as I remember them being a nightmare for CSK.
Rohit Sharma
Uh,
used to bat number 3 in that season, not number 4 exactly.
No, he
so
used
I
to be
mean,
a
that's
floater,
where,
because at times I think
yeah, he used to come
even
in.
Ambati Raidu used to come in at number 3, because they had
Yeah.
Kyron
Number
Pollard,
3 was,
Aditya
yeah,
Jade
it was
coming
a
at 5
floating
6
position.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
correct.
my point being, I want to see how he and Cameron Green start, because I think Cameron Green could be that He could provide an impetus that Rohit Sharma now doesn't have to take the risk anymore. But who's going to be really important here is Ishan Kishan Abel, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think Cameron Green is a player at this stage of his career, at least, who will play 6 to 7 overs. He's a player who'll play 3 to 4 overs, give you a good 30 of 15, 30 of 12 start, and then he'll get out. If that's the kind of he lives by the sword, dies by the sword. That's the kind of attitude he has in the power play. So that's where Ishan Kishan will have to come in and continue the same impetus. And if he does not, then I think that's where Rohit Sharma again will struggle, because last year Ishan Kishan was the kind of the way he played. Rohit Sharma felt it was up to him to really go after the bowling, and
Yeah,
and that's where I felt he kept getting out a lot more often. And then again this year's World Cup we saw that when he played with KL Rahul as well.
absolutely. I think we'll move on to the next team because we've spent a lot of time on Mumbai Indians right
Sorry,
now.
At this
Krishnan.
rate,
I
I think we are going to go through till morning covering all the
Yeah,
10
so
teams.
I think we should
We
hurry
might
up.
be too light at this rate.
Priyanka
But
says
but I
next
agree with
trophy.
to end Mumbai Indians IPL auction journey. I would like to say that I totally agree with Shinwari Ahmed. I think please bring Sachin Tendulkar back. I think he's still good enough to play
He is a
IPL.
mentor, right? He's still there.
Yeah.
He's still there. He's
I
still
Still
mean,
there,
there.
he's
playing.
still there.
I mean, he was doing a decent enough job in the road safety tournament.
Oh, a lot of legends are doing a decent enough job. Now,
But
if you look at
guys, I
that
mean,
squad,
Sandipani, you have to understand that the ball is coming at him at 41 years old and a 41, I mean, 41, what, 42, 43, 45, 45-year-old bowler versus a
Yeah, well, you had some
45-year-old
of the
batter.
players from
I mean, you heard
domestic
Virendra Sehwag say,
cricket as
right?
well.
Now that all these ballers are old, I'm not scared of any of them. I know Virendra Sehwag is a bit cocky, but he isn't wrong when he says that. Because a
yeah, it
45-year-old
makes
bowler
absolute sense.
isn't.
Yeah, I think Priyanka says sixth trophy incoming, and Azla has got a
Very
reply
difficult.
to it. He says all great teams will even 5 trophies, and there is a halt.
That
Maybe
is a
that's
great
Shinwari as well.
point. Great point. And I think Brazil last won the World Cup in 2002. Australia last won the World Cup in 2015. Okay, but that was a home World Cup. But their actual dominance ended in 2007. So it's been long since the
So I think
five-time
there's a
winners have
halt for
won a
Mumbai Indians
tournament.
as well, which we are actually seeing in front of our eyes. But there are some teams like Real Madrid as well when it comes to club level where they just keep on dominating. So that's something
Let's
which
hope
I
that's CSK for IPL. Yeah, let's move on.
yeah, I don't think it's good for IPL when a team keeps on winning as well. So uh,
Yeah, it is. It's
it's
true.
good that Gujarat Titans won.
Also,
Let's pull out the next team.
Teju has a very interesting comment.
Yeah, we will pull it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, but before that, we will talk about the next one. I want life like Puran. Yeah, definitely. You are a big.
I
If you
would
want to
rather prefer a
if you
life
want to
like
be a
Jaydev
Puran, of
Unadkat.
course, you can be a big Puran anytime. But talking about that, we will talk about the Chennai Super Kings, four-time IPL champions, team who did not do well in the last IPL. The IPL before that, in 2020, they had a very, very mellow IPL where they did not really get going. But come 2021, they went on to take the trophy once again. Uh, Teams and everyone, all the fans will be hoping that they have that kind of a season which they had in 2021 after a bad season to come back strong. And now remember, they're going to be back in Chepauk once again in their den, as they call it, Anbu Den, where they're absolutely formidable. They really play with the resources there. Once again, Chennai Super Kings had a very, very good day in the auction table. They got in their resources. They got in that play. They got in those players who can do all-round job a lot more. But one of the surprising things bites would have been Ajinkya Rahane, but barring that, if you really have to build a team for Chepauk, they really look like a very, very strong team on the paper, isn't it, Jaren?
I think my reaction to the whole auction really was Ben Stokes. Because who saw that coming really? Because I maybe there is a theory out there which says that Chennai team really pumped up the fact that they want Sam Curran, that all the other teams thought that's where Chennai are going for, but maybe the man they really wanted was Ben Stokes. Because I mean, I know in this year, I feel Ben Stokes doesn't make as much sense. But if you look at the long term, if you look at the next maybe 3 years, 4 years, he makes a lot of sense, especially once I think MS Dhoni's time comes to an end. That's where this will become Ben Stokes' team.
Didn't you
If it's
expect Dhoni to go on to play for 3-4 years more?
no, I'm saying Ben Stokes his era will begin in the next three, four
Okay, okay,
years.
yeah.
I'm saying in that sense. I'm not saying Dhoni is going to play for 3, 4 years. Who
Okay,
knows? I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
I certainly hope he does at the level. Somewhat, if he can, if he can replicate what he did for us in 2021 season, I would take it because he came good for us in those clutch games. We don't need him. I think at this stage, CSK doesn't need Dhoni to, carry them really as he used to do once upon a time. Now, what CSK really needs him is to come good in those clutch moments, and I think he's doing that for us so far, which is fair enough. But having said that, the debate that really has sparked is who is going to be the captain of this team. Is Dhoni going to try something that he tried with Jadeja, or is Dhoni going to give 1 year to Ben Stokes to understand the whole setup before he hands over the reign?
And the biggest
Um,
question from my side to Chennai Super Kings and Jerin right now is who is your death bowling option? There is no Dwayne
Yeah,
Bravo.
that's
There is no.
exactly
Ben
which
Stokes.
Tuju also has pointed it out.
Ben
I think when you
Stokes.
talk about death bowling option, also considering the fact that Deepak Chahar is having a huge injury cloud over him,
Yeah.
he's on that stroll at this point, like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. He's coming back off injury and he's getting injured again. They do have a Mahesh Patirana. Sorry,
But
Mahesh
also
Patirana.
Abel on that Deepak Chahar, even if he's 100% fit, I think Dhoni would like to use him 3 overs up front and probably just keep 1 over
Yeah,
for the death for
true,
him.
true,
So
true. Makes absolute sense. Now, if you're
where do you
talking
get
Ryan
out the other
Jamieson,
4 overs? I understand Dwayne Pretorius is one option who will continue to
they
come
have
in.
one
Uh,
option which I think
yeah.
they'll use in Chennai, which is going to be Dwayne Pretorius and also
Yeah.
Mahesh Tikshana, which are two options which I think they'll use. But talking about that, I think there is a combination which I think Chennai Super Kings should go with. I think Rudra also agrees with me here, which is to drop Devon Conway and to play Ben Stokes as an opener, which will make a lot of
Hmm.
sense for me because with Ben Stokes you get a three-faceted cricketer where you can absolutely rely on him as an opening batter because in Chepauk, if you're going to bring Ben Stokes at number four, number five, it does not make any sense for him because at this point of stage in his career, Ben Stokes does not have that game to get going from ball one. Or Chennai tracks, all those conditions does not really help him to get going from ball one. So it is of zero utility to bring Ben Stokes at number five, number four for this team. The best opportunity to use Ben Stokes is at the top of the order, in one, two, three, and maybe Ruturaj Gaikwad can open with Ben Stokes. And number three, you can have a Moeen Ali, Ambati Raidu at four. Then maybe you can play Jadeja at five, Dhoni at six, or how Shivam Dubey at six and Dhoni at seven. However you want to do, you can do that. Yet, Chennai's opening the field, if you bring Devon Conway there and Ben Stokes instead of Shivam Dubey, there is a lot of one-dimensionality about this team because then this team becomes heavily left-hand dominant. Then teams can actually put up a lot of offies against Chennai Super Kings and absolutely block one end up, which is also a possibility, which is not a good thing to have. But when you talk about the other side of things, when you're playing Ben Stokes as an opener and you're only playing two overseas players in the top seven, what happens is you also open some options for you to play two overseas bowlers, which includes Mahesh Tikshana and Mahesh Apatilana or Dwayne Pretorius. I think Dhoni is very keen on playing Dwayne Pretorius because of his variations, and Dwayne Pretorius is a bowler who can actually fit in to be doing the Dwayne Bravo job, isn't it?
I mean, for me, Abel, I think you're right. Unfortunately for me, I think Devon Conway just misses out. It's just unfortunate because your future really is with Ben Stokes, and I mean, it's understandable, because the only reason why, I mean, only reason why you would play Devon Conway is because of a wicket keeper, but you have that in MS Dhoni as of now. That's where I feel Chennai will be a little upset because I think they had plans to get in a wicket keeper, but they never did. They never could get a wicket keeper out of that auction. Someone who could take over MS Dhoni's roles maybe in the future. That's one place they'll be a little disappointed. But I think for this year they won't be as it won't hurt them as much because Dhoni will do that job. Yeah, I think you're right. Devon Conway might have to miss out because then that means if Devon Conway plays, then you have to either not play Mahesh Tikshana or Dwayne Pretorius. You can't afford either. So you have to put Devon Conway on the. I mean, put Devon Conway on the bench, especially because now that he's not had an ideal World Cup as well, he's looked like another anchor kind of a player. I don't think the CSK team needs that kind of player, needs an anchor player. But talking about the off spinner conundrum, right? The fact that there's too many lefties here, I think one thing that really helped them is someone who becomes really important here now is an Ambati Raidu, because he's someone who can take over that role, to try and make sure that if he plays through the middle overs, he becomes really important in that mid batting lineup, because then he can take down the spin bowling attack, or this idea to go after Chennai batters with spinners. So he becomes a focal point there. If he does well this year's IPL, I think that problem is gone. But if he doesn't do well, if he repeats what he's been doing in the domestic circuit, because he's not had a very good season so far in the domestic circuit, if that's what happens to CSK, I think they'll struggle in terms of the middle overs. And again, that issue of middle overs will come creeping back at them. But then, if Ben Stokes, I think Ben Stokes can go after the bowling a little bit more. In the IPL, I feel when he plays for England, right, his role is a little bit more an anchor sort of a player, because he can do that, he can afford to do that. But I think in the IPL, I've seen him try going after the ballers, and I think he might just do that. Two reasons will I say that is because one, that power play might just help him, right? Because he might feel a little bit more comfortable going after the bowling with two players outside, and also the fact that the ball coming onto the bat are not as much challenging as you would say Australia is with a new ball, especially in Chepauk. So that's where I feel Ben Stokes might be a little bit more different in CSK than when he plays for England.
Absolutely. Teju has an interesting point there. Satyamani, your thoughts, because Kyle Jamieson hasn't featured in any of the T20 format games for the last 2 years. Kyle Jamieson was ousted out of the New Zealand T20 setup completely. A player who was bought once for 15 crores by RCB is now nowhere to be seen. Now he's bought for the base price, which you can absolutely take out of a player like Kyle Jamieson. But do you really see a player like Kyle Jamieson? Because he is, we'll talk about Hazelwood, there was always something about him that you could always develop. But when we talk about Kyle Jamieson, he's exemplary in the test format. He can ball up front, but when it comes to his height, when it comes to the legacy balls, people can tend to line him up very, very often, isn't it? Do you see him being a superstar kind of that feature, or can he have that turnaround kind of a season with Chennai Super Kings, or will Chennai Super Kings play him at all?
I don't see Chennai Super Kings playing Kyle Jamieson unless Pretorius is injured. And also, I think Kyle Jamieson will be below Pathirana in the pecking order. If Pretorius gets injured, they'll try Pathirana, and if he gets injured, and then I think they'll have a chance with Kyle Jamieson. And if you ask me, I am not actually happy with what CSK have done with their auction. Another team that has gone aggressively to buy just that one player they thought will bring stability to the team, but getting that player into the side will mean that you will have to leave out Devon Conway, who was brilliant for CSK last season around. He was the turning factor for the team. The games that he played, he opened with Rituraj Gaikwad. CSK went on to have massive opening stands. He was getting a positive impact even on Rituraj's game. And whenever Devon Conway was not in the side, CSK was actually suffering. So bringing in Ben Stokes, replacing him. So basically, this auction as well, you have three youngsters. You have Ajinkya Rahane. I don't see them using Ajinkya Rahane either. Kyle Jamieson, I don't see them using either. And also, you have Ben Stokes. You will definitely use Ben Stokes with the price that you have paid for him, but then you'll have to drop somebody like Devon Conway or Thikshana, which is not the best way to go about it. So, not the best of auctions, not a very good auction. But then again,
But
CSK always
having
brings
said
up
that,
surprises.
Sandeep, consider that they're going to be playing in Chepauk, right? It's not like they're going to be playing in Mumbai. They're going to be playing in Abu
No, but
Dhabi or
playing in
Dubai.
Chepauk, Abel, my point being they already had the team that could play in Chepauk. I'm saying the new additions will not bring anything significantly extra to what they already had. Probably Ben Stokes will bring that with sticky surfaces. He can try out his slower deliveries, come in the middle overs and ball 2-3 overs in between. And obviously with the
Okay,
bat, he's
now,
a
now, now,
impact
keep
player.
in mind there is this impact substitute. How do you see impact substitute being used by a team like Chennai Super Kings? Because MS Dhoni is known for his tactical astuteness, and for
So
the
okay,
first time, you're going to
tactical
see
attitude.
how.
I mean Devon Conway batting for them, and then probably on
Wait, remember,
occasions.
at this point, I think impact substitute can be only used for Indian players, right? You can't use that
No,
for a
no, no.
foreign
The rule
player.
label is you have to play foreign players in your team. If you play three foreign players in your team, then only can you access
Impression
impact
for foreign
substitutes
players.
for foreign
No, no.
players. This is for
Or
foreign
can you
players.
can you swap a foreign player with a foreign player for impact
Yeah,
substitute?
if you're playing three players in your starting 11, yes, you can. Or else it's just Indian players.
So if you're using four players, you can't substitute the fourth player with the
A
fourth.
foreign player. Yeah, you can't. You can't.
You
That's what
can't.
I
Yeah, so
meant.
so
So that's
I
how it
mean
is.
with Dhoni, you can obviously have one of those surprises where you see one of those either of Ajay Mandal or Bhagat
I think
Verma
I
taking
Rajwardhan
a
think
chance.
Hangarkar,
I think Raj was a
Shivam
hunger kicker, as he
Dube,
rightly mentions, can be their
Shivam
impact substitute
Dube,
for this one.
Rajwardhan Hangarkar, Prashant Solanki. These are candidates I think who might become those impact substitutes for Chennai.
Yeah, all rounders definitely. But having said that, I think that all these players they already had. So whatever they are bringing into the table does not actually affect whatever they actually had. So I think not the best of auctions for Chennai Super Kings, but they'll be happy with the side, especially because they are going back to Chipok. So they'll have 7 games where they can dominate.
For me,
Yeah, that's
Sandipani,
a good amount of
I
games. If they
think
dominate for
they
7 games,
really, yeah. For me,
Nine
Sandipani,
actually, they'll have 9 games, right? So 9 teams now.
no, no,
I
no,
think they
it was 7 games. It was
desperately.
7 games.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah,
mean, my
that's how it's.
point I was trying to make was that they desperately needed a leadership role this time around. And if you look at the players they went for, they were all players who had some kind of leadership experience, barring Sam Curran. But I think Sam Curran would have really provided this team a lot of balance. But of course, he was a player who was unattainable. Not very
Sam
easy
Curran
to
would
get
have
someone
been a
like that.
great addition for this side
Yeah.
instead of Ben Stokes because of his death
But I mean,
over flowers.
you would have ended up paying a lot more money. I think for me, Ben Stokes is not a bad idea. I think this year's IPL is going to disrupt a lot of plans. But if you look at a team without MS Dhoni, you need a player like Ben
Yeah,
Stokes because
for the long term, I
if
mean,
you have to
sure, have Ben
replace,
Stokes in
yeah,
your team. You have a leadership candidate. You can groom him over the years. You have MS Dhoni. Ben
Yeah.
exactly.
Stokes himself has a great mind in cricket. So I think
Yeah,
all in all, it's they'll be very happy with Ben Stokes at 16.25. But this year around, I don't see them sort of this auction for this year will not be affected. Probably in the
yeah,
future, Ben Stokes will be a great
I mean,
option
it's
for
going to
them.
be interesting to see how he really comes off, and we're not even sure if he's going to play for the entirety of IPL because remember he's a Test captain of England as well. There are a lot of things, a lot of obligations for him at this point. Unlike the Ben Stokes of 2016, 17, where he could come to India, play with a lot of freedom. At this point, he has to take care of his body, which is number one priority. Keeping him fit for the Ashes later on this year, which is a huge priority. Now he's retired from one day cricket. That's a positive sign, positive news for Chennai Super Kings, but that doesn't mean there is a lot of responsibility on his shoulder. He's still got a lot of responsibility when it comes to test scores. Ashes is a huge series for him. Teju, I think for for Jagdishan and for Chennai Super Kings, it was only better that they had split because Chennai Super Kings wasn't going to give him any opportunity in that position which he wanted to play,
yeah,
or Jagdishan wasn't benefiting at all. So it's the best. It was the best for him to split with them, and it is good that he had gone to a team which really needed an opener, and he's gone to KKR. I think we'll talk to Sanjeevani about it later on. I think that's about it from Chennai Super Kings. Before that, I think that's going to be starting 11. It's going to be Ruturaj Gaikwad, Ben Stokes, Moeen Ali at number 3, Ambati Raidu 4. At 5, you could see Shivam Dubey. At 6, Jadeja, 7, Dhoni. 8 could be Deepak Chahar, Mukesh Chaudhary, Mahesh
Pretorius.
Tikshana, and Dwayne Pretorius. That's possibly going to be that playing 11 for Chennai Super Kings, and which I think we will see a lot of changes. Maybe Hunger Gaker can be used as a impact sub, or Prashant Solanki also is another impact sub they can use. With when it comes to Sheikh Rashid and Nishant Sidhu, very good additions when it comes to under 19 stars. Now they've
yeah,
got 3 under 19 World Cup winners in the squad, but I don't think they'll be getting any chance in the season. It's a very Chennai like thing to do, to groom them and maybe release them at some point, or keep them on the benches. And if Dhoni sees some spark, one of them can go on to have a very long career. And I'm very impressed about the development of Nishant Sidhu, an all-round cricketer. If Dhoni really likes to see and really wants to use him there, could be a future. Maybe it could be a future replacement for Jadeja in the years to come. But he's still very young. He's only a 19-year-old kid at this point. But you never know. Chennai Super Kings can really invest in him now with no mega auction, as what we hear. You can really groom him, actually nurture him a lot more, take care of him, and see his development over a period of time. So I'm very interested about the development of Nishant Sidhu and also Sheikh Rashid. Sheikh Rashid is a technically very sound batter out there. And if you're going to give him any, I don't think he's going to get any games. And it's only
Look,
fair
with
that.
Rashid, I think he's a better player for the longer formats. ODI, I mean, he's a player of Shubman Gill's caliber. If he grooms properly, I think he'll go on to be the next Shubman Gill for India.
I Shubman Gill already had made huge name at Sheikh Rashid's age, but then from the under
Yeah.
19 team, nobody has really come out. Usually, what you
Yeah.
see is at
Because
least one or two players really go on to make a big
these
name.
this under 19 team had this immense pressure because we were already expecting them to win the trophy, and when they did, because they were far superior to any other team in that competition, so
But
there
what
was
I'm talking about is a player development over here. How many players have
yeah.
come out to really dominate in the IPL, or how many players have really made a name for themselves in the domestic season? At this point, no one has. Yash Dul did really have a couple of really good domestic or outings out there, but not really gone out there to make or break the doors of Team India. Prithvi Shaw did play India right 1 year after that.
And
Shubman Gill
Indian
did
under
play India
19
a couple of years
captains
after that.
in the recent past does not have a very good track record of getting uh, into the side and making a name for themselves. We
And
also
especially if you're
saw,
from Delhi.
especially if you're from Delhi, right?
And so that's where things haven't been the best for Yashdul, but I think there's a huge career awaiting him. Let's go to another team. No time IPL champions, but definitely has got has got potential out there to be IPL champions in the future. Team from Bangalore, team who has really gone out there to impress every time. Had a very quiet day in the auction table out there. They got the services of Reese Topley for 1.9 crores. They got Will Jacks, a very impressive by Manoj Bandange, another very impressive by Avinash Singh. We will talk about Avinash Singh and Sonu Yadav as well. But before that, Jaren, your thoughts on the RCB squad? If you look at the last two seasons, RCB are a team who are not splurging a lot of money. They're very calculated in terms of who they want to buy. It doesn't have to do a lot with Mike Kesson, likes of Mike Tyson coming in, Sanjay Bangal, Freddie Wild. These lads are very astute. They are tactical thinkers in terms of what they want, how to capitalize resources, and also Faf du Plessis of a very similar school of thought, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the leadership really has changed for RCB, right? They were once upon a team, who expected flashy players to end all their problems, and they never worked out for them. Now, what they've done is they've started investing. They've started, the thought process into an auction is very important. Right now, I will. If you look at, if you look at the auction they've had, my favorite buy has to be Will Jacks. I think he's out there. Top 10 buys that I feel in this auction, Will Jacks is out there because he's a budding talent. He's someone who really deserves a spot in an English team. Unfortunately, though, that English team is stuffed full of white ball players like Bill Jacks, but he could be a good player in this RCB team. We still need to see because he's not had any exposure. The kind of level that IPL has, he's not had that kind of exposure. He's obviously done well in the 100, but he's one of the few players who scored 100 in the 100, if I'm not wrong. That's a
Yeah.
very rare
Yeah.
occurrence.
And
So,
not just the 100, right before the 100, even in the PSL, I think Will Jack started to make a name for himself. He had a score of
yeah.
97, he had a score of 9, and he was playing T20s at a different country for the first time. And it was very impressive to see
He
him
also
come
did
out
have a
there
very
and
good
play that
T10
aggressive kind of
innings as
cricket.
well. So he's an opening batter. He opens the batting wherever he goes. He's got the power game. Picked up a 5 wicket haul very recently in Test cricket as well. So can ball handy off spin. So a complete package in terms of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yep.
he could be the replacement they're looking for in terms of Maxwell, right? Because Maxwell, remember, guys, he was partying and he might just miss the IPL because of that.
No,
And
he is
you
fit
needed a.
to go, is what we're hearing from
That's a good
January, and
news.
he can be back to cricket. So that is a positive news at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but then they were looking for because there was a lot of cloud on terms of his availability, and that's why they were looking for someone. I expected them to go for Shakib Al Hasan, but I think Will Jacks is a lot better in terms of a buy because you're also looking at someone who is doing well at this point in time, and also looking at someone who could be a future for your team or his future is very bright in cricket at least. So that's a great buy for me. Another buy that I really liked was Reece Topley. I would have really hoped that CSK came at the better end of him, got him because he could have really helped us in terms of his bowling ability. But this team now has a lot more depth in terms of the replacement for Josh Hazelwood because you can really bank on Reece Topley to do well. He's done extremely well for England. Unfortunate, really, that he couldn't be part of that World Cup squad, but I think he can be a very good. He is another very good addition to this team. In fact, I think any other IPL team, most IPL teams would have played him in their first 11. It's just that's how good RCB was. And I think in terms of this auction, they had a quite the able. I think most RCB fans would be happy, right, going into this auction. They had the team for them to be not so worried at the auction table.
Yeah, that's one positive factor. Especially they have actually given the longevity in terms of the players, with something which you don't resonate with RCB squads over the years. They tend to chop and change a lot, but over the last 3 to 4 years, you're seeing you're seeing a much more settled RCB units which have been put onto the park. Hence the consistency of making it to the playoffs as well. You made it to 3 out of 3 playoffs, and also considering the longevity every player has gotten in their roles, there's a role clarity which this new management have brought in as well. But talking about that, Reece Topley can be a replacement for Josh Hazelwood. Remember, Josh Hazelwood hasn't been in the best of forms recently, and also Josh Hazelwood has been also suffering with a lot of injuries, which has really taken a hit on his bowling. His bowling rhythm has really depleted over the last 6 to 7 months. How do you see Reece Topley being a replacement for Josh Hazelwood, especially if you're talking about the IPL season? Because now you have a Harshal Patel and Mohammad Siraj who's been in fantastic form. Now you can tend to go with the restop lead to bring in that extra bit of left arm angle into your team, is that? Or even David Willie there.
Yeah, I think definitely with Reece Topley coming in, and I think RCB are one of the teams. I'm very impressed with the way they went about in their auctions. Out of the three teams that we have observed so far, I think by far the best auction they have had when it comes to when you compare their auction with Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings. Having said that, again, RCB, a team that had nothing to change. I think all the new buys that came in, I think I would totally agree with Jaren. Will Jacks is a very important buy. Now they have the luxury of trying out Will Jacks if they want, even in place of Maxwell, because if they don't want to try Finn Allen, they can also go for Will Jacks. And they also have Reece Topley, who has been in great form as well, to just go in place of Hazelwood. But I would still start with Hazelwood. But if given a chance, I can also we can also sort of go for an experiment. If Maxwell is not fit, we can go with Faf du Plessis, Hasaranga, Reece Topley, and Hazelwood as the foreign options for one of the games. And I think this will be one of the best bowling units in the team. Having said that, they already have Mohammad Siraj and Harshal Patel. And also there is also Shahbaz Ahmed, who can do a brilliant job for them with the ball as well. So this will be one of the more settled units with the ball. And with the bat, you have Virat Kohli, you have Faf du Plessis, you have
Rajat
Dinesh
Patidar.
Karthik. Yeah,
Rajat
and
Patidar.
Rajat Patidar was the sensation of the tournament last time around, and Prabhu Desai also the glimpse that we saw in the opportunities that he got, he capitalized on it. Anuj Rawat probably will look to have a better IPL if he gets any chance. But another player that I would definitely want them to start in the top 11 is Mahipal Lomror, because I feel that last time around they could have sort of gone with Lomror earlier in the season than they actually went for him. I would have Mahipal Lomror ahead of Anuj Rawat in my team any day of the week. So I think
Mahipal Romero is extremely talented as well.
yeah.
If given that longer rope, you can actually find a gem of an all-rounder there if you're really ready to invest heavily on Mahipal Lomro. But to be talking about Avinash Singh, that Teju has already mentioned about the talent scouting system under Malol and Rangarajan there. I think he's done a very good job there. But talking about Avinash Singh, whatever news we've been getting off him, he can ball 150. He's a baller from
Yeah.
Kashmir as well, can ball up to 150, 155. Not yet played a single domestic game, straight out of the nets, straight out of is a straight raw talent who they've spotted and brought him into the RCB team. Himanshu Sharma, another player, straight out of club cricket there. Not played a single domestic game. Can ball, very very good flipper and a googly is what we're hearing. Somewhat very similar like Rashid Khan, quicker through the air. And Avinash Singh is another exciting talent. So very good to see the scouting system working very well in IPL. Now you're going to see more of these players coming through the ranks. You don't need to play domestic cricket to play in IPL. So that's a very good bar or standards which have been set. Now, domestic cricket is not about to play IPL. If you're talented enough anywhere in the country, scouts can come by you and actually you can be a part of IPL. Or what you have to do is to be talented enough and show your potential in the trials. Then you will get your opportunity. And IPL really sets the
And little bit
tagline.
of lucky as well.
A
Luck
little
is
bit of
also
luck as
needed.
well. You need luck in every step of life, of course. So that's why you talk about talent meets opportunity, the IPL tagline, and now it's really fitting in pretty well. Jaren, your thoughts on the scouting system every team has implemented before we go on to the next team?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it a little bit, right? When initially, before the auction, where we spoke about how if mega auctions are done away with, teams will get even more active in terms of talent development because that will mean if you get a player for cheap in the auction, it means he's yours forever unless you release him, right? Because most often than not, if a mega auction comes in, there's a cycle, there's a reset every single time. And while it is great as fans to look at mega auctions and look at team strategy and a lot of these things, it really hurts as a franchise owner, right? Where you build your team up, and I mean, if you look at some of the teams and some of the auctions they've had, you would assume that a Mumbai Indians team, for instance, would have felt the brunt of it for the most because they built a franchise in the ground up. A lot of these players invested a lot, and now they've gone away from these teams and they are doing well. For example, Gujarat Titans, their captain was a player that Mumbai Indians developed, right? But now, if that system goes away, what these teams will be even more incentivized to go after players, invest in players in the auction. Because if you get someone like, well, let's say, at this case, Avinash Singh for 20 lakhs, then he's yours, and you don't have to, you won't lose him in a mega auction, and then he can really keep giving you goods time and time and time again. And that, the player value, the increment in the player value only benefits your franchise, and that is going to help these teams. So I really think once the mega auction rule is done, while it is great for the fans to see, as I say it again, you'll see more and more academies come up. The scouting system will transform into a lot more solid structure than how it is right now. It is great as it is right now, but it'll become much more developed as, and will really help the Indian cricket improve, as I would say.
Absolutely. And also talking about one more player from RCB is Manoj Bandange. A very impressive side Mustaqil Trophy, a striker of 173 batting in the middle order. Has got a very good range against pace, not just against spin. I remember one of the games I saw against Jammu and Kashmir from one of the video clippings. He was taking on Umran Malik. Umran Malik is the fastest Indian bowler out there. To take him on, to be facing 150 for a domestic batter and to actually take him on is not a small thing. So Manoj Bandange is an absolute steal at 20 lakhs. I think a local talent finally for RCB. If RCB really wants to play Manoj Bandange, can play him at number 5 as well. If they really want to play him instead of Mahipal Lomro or Suresh Prabhu Desai. So that's another opportunity for RCB to really try him out. Well, let's go to the next team here. We've got the two-time IPL champions, the Kolkata Knight Riders under Shreyas Iyer. Did not have the best of IPL.
Oh, I think he will
Yeah, I
just
think he was
got
going
cut
to say
off.
something. Did not have the best of IPLs, and then God just did justice on him. I think they had a great IPL last time around. They were just a bit unlucky towards the end.
Yeah, I was just pulling out the Kolkata Knight Riders team. So just to bring that team up, how do you see Sandipani before I pull the team up? How do you see this team? Because last time around, one of the biggest conundrum was the opening slot. Had close to 8 different opening combinations through the course of the last IPL. Started from Ajinkya Rahane, Aaron Finch to Sam Billings, Venkatesh Iyer. He just kept on switching and turning as the IPL went on. How do you see this team? Two big transfers which have been made in Shardul Thakur and Lockie Ferguson as well. Are you really happy with the team ultimately if you look at things?
I am very happy with the team, and I think they are going to do wonders this time around. Another team that had a great auction, even though they were sitting quite towards the earlier stages of the auction. But yeah, that is just what KKR has done over the years. They had very little money towards the middle parts of the auction, or probably this time around in mini auction, KKR never has a lot of money to go after players because they also sort of go to buy that one or two X Factor players and then just sit back. But this time around they had only around 7 crores in their purse, and with that what they have done is outstanding. And also the trades towards the in the earlier stages, Rahmanullah Gurbaz coming in, great talent for 20 lakhs, great job over there. And I think with Pat Cummins not being a part of the team, Lockie Ferguson coming in his place is another great a great addition to the side, and also a great talent. I mean, Shardul Thakur has done brilliant for
You
CSK.
were never a fan of Shardul Thakur,
I
Sandeep.
am, I am,
Now don't
yeah.
praise him all of a sudden.
Honestly,
See,
I have
now
never
that
been a
he's
fan
in
of Shardul
purple,
Thakur.
Sandeepani is fan of everyone in purple label. Things have changed. As you say, the perspective, the color has changed, and therefore Sandeepani has
Okay,
transformed himself
just
into a Thakur
talking about
fan.
my honest reaction. I'll be okay. Shardul Thakur probably not something I was very happy about, but okay. You need some experienced players in your team, experienced Indian players in your team, and with they did not have Dinesh Karthik last time around, so they needed somebody like Shardul Thakur. Not that experienced, but okay, they had a little bit of experience to replace it. But talking about the new talents, I think KKR coming into this auction, I think they had 3 points in mind. They did not have that opening slot after Shubman Gill left. That opening place was a huge spot of bother for them. With Liton Das coming in, Mandip Singh coming in, Liton Das, I think Liton Das, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, they will be great sort of
So who do you
backup
open with?
options.
Because Teju also has a question over here, Sandeepani, because Venkatesh Iyer did not have the best of last seasons. He has not been in the radar since the last season. He's gone completely off radar as a cricketer. He had to face injuries. He had to face a lot of issues since then. Not been at the best of forms. Had he faced a lot of weaknesses against moving ball. Was absolutely found out in the second season, as you say, second season blues, and you have
Yeah.
found out completely exposed. Now, talking about it, would you still go in with the Venkatesh Iyer as an opening option alongside a Jagdishan? Because now you have so many opening options with the
Yeah,
likes of
because
Rahul
I would
Gurbakhsh.
I would definitely for the first game I would definitely try Jagdishan, because I was very happy with that. By 90 lakhs for Narayan, Jagdishan was a steal. I don't know why people did not go after him more, because 90 lakhs for Narayan Jagdishan is too little for me. So I think they have Jagdishan, and I think they will go with Nitish Rana early on,
As an
because
opener,
yeah.
not Venkatesh Iyer as an opener. You're saying
No,
you're
I
saying
would
that.
I would have Venkatesh Iyer at my number at number 6 for me. I would definitely give them the like I mean Venkatesh Iyer with Chandrakant Pandit is a deadly combination. And I think
Okay.
Chandrakant Pandit will know what Venkatesh Iyer wants and what he needs to sort of get back into form. So you have to understand that they have the combination. So I'll ask if I'm the coach, I'll go to Nitish Rana, I'll go to Venkatesh Iyer. I'll ask them, because both of them are good enough, have done a good enough job floating in for KKR, coming in at number, not Venkatesh Iyer, but Venkatesh Iyer did a brilliant job for Team India, coming in at number 6 for them. And Nitish Rana has been spectacular, coming in at number 3, number 4 for them. KKR
You
have
also
used
have a
Nitish
Rinku
Rana.
Singh, right? So
Yeah,
that really helps your batting order.
yeah. This KKR system, they usually have this floating system where any player can come in
But will
between
you
number 1 to
play
number 6.
Shreyas Iyer any less than number three in this team? Because
No, no, no,
I think,
definitely no.
yeah,
Where
that
if I want to experiment, if KKR wants to catch the team off guard and probably send in a Sunil Narayan early on, then I'll send in Sunil Narayan and Jagdishan to open the innings for the team. I'll have Shreyas Iyer at number 3, Nitish Rana at number 4. I'll have Venkatesh Iyer at number 5. Russell will obviously float in if the situation needs it, and Rinku Singh is there at number 6, number 7, another finisher. So I think in that basis we have it covered. And just talk about the substitutions. We know that KKR already had, like most of the teams, KKR already had the 11 players that they wanted to try out for the season, barring an opener, definitely an Indian wicket keeping opener. With
yeah.
Jagdishan coming in, I think that will do wonders for them. That will fill in a huge sort of hole that they had in their team. And also, if you, I was just talking about the replacements that they had. They have Mandeep Singh, Liton Das, in case there is
If you were to
any
use
sort.
impact substitute for this team, now you're given the starting 11. Maybe Shardul Thakur will bat number 8 for them. Then you'll have a Varun Chakravarti. Then I don't think Tim Southey player. I'll see Lockie Ferguson. And
Yeah, Lockie
maybe who
Ferguson and
else?
Umesh Yadav.
Yeah, Lockie Ferguson, Umesh Yadav at number 9, 10. Who will be the number 11 player? Will it be
No,
Harshit
I
Rana
mean,
or will it be
see,
Anupul Roy?
if you are opening with Jagdishan and Narayan, if I'm talking about some of the exceptional matches where they try out Narayan as an opener. So if you're talking about okay, let's not talk about Narayan as an opener. Let's talk about Nitish Rana and Jagdishan opening the innings for them. So Nitish Rana, Jagdishan opening the innings for them. You have Shreyas Iyer at number 3. You have Nitish Rana or Venkatesh Iyer at number 4. Russell can fit in at number 5. Rinku Singh at number 6. You have Sunil Narayan coming in at number 7. Then at number 8, you have Shardul Thakur. At number 9, you have Umesh Yadav. At number 10, you have Varun Chakravarti. At number 11, you have either of Tim Saudi or Loki Ferguson. I would go with Loki Ferguson for the first game. And
Yeah, makes
talking
sense.
about replacements, if Andrew Russell pulls up, you have David Vizay. If Narayan is unable to play any game, you have Shakib Al Hassan. And also,
Yeah.
I mean, it's covered. All the bases are covered.
How do you see this team, Jaren?
Um,
Because
yeah.
considering the impact substitute rule as well, you can bring in someone like a Shakib Al Hasan as an impact, or not Shakib Al Hasan, maybe you can also bring in someone like you can bring in Anukul Roy as impact substitute for this team if need be, because on pitches which will aid spin, Anukul Roy can be a very, very handy option for this team,
And
isn't
also
it?
Vaibhav Arora. I think Vaibhav Arora is another great buy at 60 lakhs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Weber is a very good buy because he can swing the ball up front on conditions which will really help swing bowling. So, generally, if you have to see from that perspective of an impact substitute, now Sandeep Mane did pull up a very good starting 11 for this KKR side. Also, this KKR side has got enough balance and enough number of all rounders who can bat anywhere in the batting order. That's been the strength of the KKR unit over the years. Now, once again, that's been their USP. And now, if you have to put up an impact substitute player alongside the starting 11, who will be and how will it really play out for this team?
Yeah, I think for me, you guys have picked out the names already. I would go with Vaibhav Barora or Anukul Roy, because especially Anukul Roy, who can bat a little bit as well. He can swing the bat. Rinku Singh, I think another player might just come in handy as a impact substitute if he's not already in the starting lineup. By the way, I really think he should be in the starting lineup. I mean, it's not going to be easy to fit him in, but he's done a great
No,
job
no,
for
it's a
you
no
whenever
brainer. I
you've
think
given him
Rinku
a
Singh
chance.
is will definitely be in the starting 11.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, he should, right? Because he's done a great job for you guys. I think he was one of those players who's done well whenever KKR has given him a chance, and even in the field, if not as a substitute fielder, if not in the starting lineup. So he's another player I really hope they do well. One thing, Sandipani, though, I wanna ask you as well is I feel this team is a little top order heavy because Shreyas Iyer, Mandip Singh, Ritan Das, Jagdishan, Gurbaz, Venkatesh Iyer, and Shakib Al Hasan, because I think Venkatesh Iyer for me still is a lot more comfortable top of the order. India tried to put him in that lower order area. That's where, as a replacement for Hardik Pandya, that's where his career completely went AWOL, isn't it? That's just, I think Indian team is ruining a lot of these players because trying to fit him in roles they have not played. He tried doing that, then he switched back to opening spot, then he again came back, and that's the confusion that really derailed his career. I really want to see him open the innings, play with the same mindset he did initially. But talking about this, I think there's a lot more in the top order, right? And I feel the middle order is the one that is really affected because now they have Rinku Singh, Russell, and Nitish Rana and Vize. These are the four players I identify in the middle order, where I really think they might struggle if either of these players don't do well. I mean, especially Rinku Singh, Russell, and Rana, all three are required to be in the starting lineup. So your only backup then is David Vize.
Yeah, I think when I summed up the lineup, I think the only change that I would make after you said about Venkatesh Iyer, I totally agree with you, and I think KKR ended the season with Venkatesh Iyer coming back as an opener for them. They played him as an
Yeah,
opener in the last two games, and like I said, I mean Chandrakant Pandit will know Venkatesh Iyer's game, his comforts, his discomforts, and Nitish Rana has always been a team player. And initially, he used to bat at number 3, number 4 for Mumbai Indians before being traded to KKR. So I mean
yeah.
Nitish Rana at number 4. I mean all. Yeah, they are a top heavy side when you look at the squad, but I think that the four foreign players that are going to play the first game is they will probably not even need four foreign players. They are probably going to go ahead with Sunil Narayan, Andre Russell, and Loki Ferguson.
No, there's
Because
another option. There's another option as well. They can go on to play with Rahmanullah Gurbaz or Liton Das as your wicket keeping option up there, up top, which
yeah,
is also a
no,
very good one because
but
Liton Das,
I
you know
think
what he can
KKR
actually bring in
will
return.
play it smart. I think KKR will play it smart. KKR, because they have the option of going in with three foreign players. They have Russell, they have Narayan, they have Loki Ferguson, Team Saudi. They'll go in. Go in the starting lineup with three foreign players because you have Venkatesh Iyer, Jagdishan opening for you at number
Yeah.
4. There, number 3 Shreyas Iyer, number 4 Nitish Rana, number 5 Rinku Singh, Russell Narayan comes at 6 and 7. At number 8, there is Shardul Thakur. Then there is Varun Chakravarti, Umesh Yadav, and one of the foreign players. So they can use their impact substitution on a foreign player as well. You might see Liton Das come in as an impact substitution, or probably Shakib Al Hassan coming in as an impact substitution. David Vizek can come in as an impact substitution according to needs. Because I think with this KKR team, they can go ahead and take the risk of playing just three foreign players in the starting 11.
Absolutely, and that's why I think it's going to be very, very, it's going to be very interesting for KKR, because KKR has been a team who's really relied upon players to come in and make a lot of difference. And David Vise, I thought was a very good acquisition, like replacement for Andre Russell, because with Andre Russell, you know that he doesn't he doesn't really get to play 14 games, considering where his body stands at this point of stage in his career, how his body really holds up. And that's where a player like David
And I
Visa has been
mean, also,
outstanding whenever
even
he's got an
as you're
opportunity.
mentioning about Andre Russell's fitness, he's, as far as I know, he's had a lot of issues with his knees, because it seems as if, especially the fast bowling now, his knees are not able to carry that weight of bowling 3 to 4 overs. So that's where they might have to look at Andre Russell as a batter more, as a batter who can give two
But
overs
I mean,
maybe a game.
talking
But
about Russell's fitness, I think he's doing the job for the BBL side. I think he's playing for
yeah,
Renegades right
Renegades.
now.
Yeah,
Even though
yeah,
he'll
yeah.
play just the first 4 games, and then I think once he's playing in place of one of those all rounders, and they'll come back after the fourth game, and Russell will not play in BBL. So he'll have a lot of time to sort of regroup himself, and I think he has been injury free for quite some time. Touchwood.
Makes sense. But let's go to the next team. That was about it from KKR, two-time IPL champions. Did not have the best of times last time around, though they played the finals in 2021. They want to change things around and change things around quite quickly under the new management of Chandrakant Pandit. Let's go to a team which had a lot of budget to splurge. It was the Sunrisers Hyderabad. They had a field day in the auction table. They came into the auction with just 11 retentions and went in with the most number of buys and some big buys. Jen, how do you think they did in terms of the auction buys to start off with? Because they had to fill in a lot of holes, starting from opening batter, finding a good middle order batter, actually finding also spin bowling department. That was one of the weakest suits in the last IPL. Though they had Washington Sundar, but Washington Sundar at times was just being one of the lone spinners out there. He had no support from the other end. Now this IPL, they went into the auction table with strategic plans to fill in those holes, and they did a very decent job, isn't it? Ultimately, if you look at things.
Oh, I think they did really well, Abel. Even though, as I mentioned, initially I felt they were getting a little too, what do you say? They were spending lot of money, because I think Mayank Agarwal, Harry Brook, and who was the third buy? If I'm not wrong, it was Heinrich Klaassen. Three of them put together, if you see, they've spent close to what, 30 crores, and that was a lot of money. I think 26 crores to be precise. From then on, they made some really smart buys. I think for me, for instance, someone like an Akil Hussain for 1 crore is a very good buy. I think even Vivran Sharma, another very good buy. I think some players they did buy make some smart buys. Adil Rashid for 2 crores, Mayank Markande for 50 lakhs, especially a team which do not have any spinners in the last time around. In fact, I think most of the spinners they had in the team have gone unsold, if I'm not wrong. I think Shreyas Gopal has gone unsold. Did Suchit get a buyer? I think he did not, right?
He did not. He did not.
Yeah, so I think there basically two out of the three spinners have gone unsold. So that shows the kind of quality
But
they
I
had.
think Suchit was the pick of the spinners for Sunrisers Hyderabad in the last
He
season.
did ball well. I mean, he did ball well in patches. You're
He
right.
also batted well in terms of whatever
Yeah.
opportunity
But he
was
was, I
given.
mean, you always felt he never was the player, to put in a starting lineup at least. He's always a player you went back to as a plan C, not even a plan B, right? But now I think with this team, Adil Rashid is a very good buy here, because I still feel he's got to give something to this to the IPL, because he's done well in T20 tournaments all across the world. He's done well for England as well. I still think he has something to give to IPL. I'm not saying he's gonna be a Rashid Khan kind of a bowler, but I think he might just play a role for the Sunrisers Hyderabad team. And if not for him, I still feel Mayank Markande has a chance to come back, because I'll rate him very highly. I know he's not lived up to the kind of the kind of expectations I had for him. But I think he's got a very good leg spinner, very, very good googly. I remember how he ran through the CSK team before Bravo had to come and save us. But so that's where I think these are two very good buys for me. Someone they really needed. One player I was a bit surprised was Heinrich Klaassen. 5 crores for him. I was a bit surprised because I don't know if he's worth as much, especially when he's not your start. He's not even in starting lineup. If you have to play between Glenn Phillips and Heinrich Klaassen, for me, it is Glenn Phillips. The only reason why I see them paying this much is because they wanted a left-handed batter who could take down the leg spinners, and something of a matchup. That's where they were looking for with Heinrich Klaassen. That's the only reason why I see they selected him. Them selecting him.
Makes sense. And what do you think about Harry Brooks, Sundibani? Because even Teju says, he has all the accolades to be a superstar. That he's got all the skill out there. You've already seen his game against
Immense
Spain.
Virat
He's a
Kohli.
Yeah, he can be. He's got everything in his book to really go out there and be a superstar. He's always scored test hundreds. He's gone on to do well in T20 format in Asian conditions more than anywhere else. He really feels himself comfortable playing against spin. He has a good sweep shot. He uses his feet very well against spin. These are some big boxes he's ticked already in a very short career, and that really puts him really ahead in terms of the kind of player he can be and the kind of player he is for this team and the kind of value he'll probably bring. Now, if you look at the Sunrisers team, they've got a very good Indian bowling contingent likes of Umran Malik, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and Natarajan, and also Karthik Tyagi. That's not something which a lot of teams are blessed with. So they can afford to play no overseas fast bowler and fill their batting with overseas middle order bats likes of Glenn Phillips, Harry Brooks, and Aiden Markram can form a very strong middle order for this team. How do you see this team shaping up? And also remember, Mayank Agarwal for 8.5 crores is a very big acquisition, and that's a one could say it's a steal rather. 8.25 crores for Mayank Agarwal, considering a strike rate against spin and pace, also a captaincy option. That's another dimension what he can bring for this team as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's pretty well summed up. But according to me, from the teams that we have seen, Sunrisers Hyderabad and Punjab Kings heading into this auction, they needed to revamp their team, and I think Sunrisers Hyderabad have done it superbly. They had the players that they wanted from the past, and they have got the players that they want in the present. Brilliant like to like replacements they have got in the squad. Like if you don't have a Nicholas Puran, they have added in Heinrich Klaassen. They have added in a player of uh, they also have they already had Glenn Phillips. They already had Eden Markram. So with Henrik Klaassen and Harry Brooks coming in, I mean Harry Brooks, I'm still surprised with the amount that they paid him. But Harry Brooks is a great asset to have in your team, especially he'll look after that number 5 spot, because over the years we have seen Sunrisers Hyderabad be overly reliant on their top order batting. Right from the time when they had Shikhar Dhawan and David Warner open the innings for them, then there was Kane Williamson providing the stability at number 3, Manish Pandey coming in providing stability at number 3, and they never
Yeah.
had this middle order stability. And I think Harry Brooks coming in will give them that. Having said that, also talking about the spin contingent, I think Mayank Markande, great addition to support Washington Sundar. I don't think Mayank Markande is going to get a game, but they already have Washington Sundar. Even if he gets it, he's a very good
Do you
option.
still think
If
that
you
they're still a little shorter in terms of spin bowling? They have a
No, no,
Adil
no. I
Rashid
don't think.
forgotten.
I think they have it covered. They have Washington Sundar. They have Mayank Markande. If they want to look at foreign options, they also have Adil Rashid, and another buy, a very good buy for me has been Akil Hussain. Akil Hussain for
Okay,
1 crore is a great addition to the team, especially with Kartik Tyagi. If you want to play the quartet of Indian bowlers, Natarajan, Kartik Tyagi, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Umran Malik, you apart from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Natarajan, Kartik Tyagi are more of death over bowlers, and you also have Umran Malik who will come in the middle overs. So you can have an Akil Hussain in that team who can come in and bowl in the power plays along with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and probably have Washington Sundar as your sixth bowling
Yeah,
option.
I mean,
So I
I'll
yeah.
just add to what Sandeepan is saying. I think this is the most balanced bowling squad in the whole of IPL level because they've got four left arm spin options, three left arm pace options, four leg spin options, three off spin options, including Glenn Phillips. and
Yeah.
Aiden Markram, who both can ball. Markram is done balled for South Africa and for Sunrisers as well. And then they've got four. I mean, the four fast bowlers,
And we also
including
forgetting this team has
Malik,
also got
Tyagi, and
Marco
Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Janssen. Marco Janssen
Marco Jansen as well. Yeah.
who they can use. And
So they've
Fazal Haq
got
Farooqi is
Faruqi,
available.
Fazalak
Natarajan,
Farooqui,
and
Marco
Marco
Jansen. I mean,
Jansen.
brilliant, brilliant team,
Marco
most balanced.
Jansen, Fazalak Faruqi, and Natarajan, three left arm pacers. So they've got almost everyone except for a left arm leg spin, which I think only two teams have, if I'm not wrong. That is
Naminul
Mumbai
Haq
and
and
Delhi.
Delhi Capitals.
Delhi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chinamans are rare. I mean,
Yeah, but
not Chinamans,
having
left arm
said
leg
that,
spin from now.
let's pull out their squad once again. Let's look at what could be their possible starting lineup. Remember, Abhishek Sharma is
And
given the
not just
mantle to
talking
open
about
the
the
batting
bowling
as well.
lineup, I think even if you go, if we dwell into the batting setup, I think it's one of the most balanced squads. You have Mayank Agarwal, Abhishek Sharma, Rahul Tripathi, and then you can have Aiden Markram at number 4. You can have Henrik Klassen at number 5 if you want, or probably Harry Brooks at number 5, and then play Glenn Phillips at number 6. Uh,
Actually, they can go
Too
on
many
to play.
options.
They can actually drop Abhishek Sharma from the team and go in with Rahul Tripathi to open the batting. Aiden Markram at 3, Harry Brooks at 4, Glenn Phillips at 5, Washington Sundar at 6, or
Yeah, that
Abdul
makes
Samad
sense.
at 7 as well. But I'll rather
I
go
think
with
Abdul
Abhishek Sharma
Samad at
opening the
six,
batting.
Abel. Who do you reckon?
I'll go with Abhishek Sharma opening the batting. He has not done anything bad. From a
And I
bad
think he was
season Sunrise
brilliant. I think
Hyderabad
he was
had,
one of the bright lights, bright
yeah,
spots for
Yeah.
Sunrisers Hyderabad last season
he was
around.
one of the silver linings which they had from the last season. And remember, he can also ball handy left arm spin in case they're traveling away or even in Hyderabad surface. We have seen Hyderabad surface play out differently in different games. In surfaces where it can turn in Hyderabad, you can use someone like Abhishek Sharma to even open the bowling in the power play. So
And
Abhishek
based on
Sharma,
form, I think they can even afford the luxury of dropping Washington Sundar.
they can. That's why they can bring in someone like a Vivran Sharma.
Yeah.
Vivran Sharma, a very, very impressive name out there. Can ball leg spin, can bat left hand. As a striker of close to 170 in domestic cricket, plays for Jammu and Kashmir once again. Another player from Jammu and Kashmir making big, big noise in IPL. IPL. Also, Sanveer Singh, also Teju had pointed him out. He had a striker
Yeah.
of 205 in Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. And remember Mayank Dagar. I don't know, a lot of people remember him, plays for Himachal, had a very, very decent season. Another all-round cricketer who can actually replace Washington Sundar as well. So a lot of options for this team who can really come in as likely replacement for every player. There is a possibility where Glenn Phillips might not even get a chance to play. They can go in with the Fazal Haq Farooqi in the bowling lineup in case their bowling is falling slightly short. So Sunrisers Hyderabad, who do you think should be the captain of this team? Now that's the biggest question. There was a question asked to Abhishek Sharma, and Abhishek Sharma said that it'll be an honor to captain the Sunrise Hyderabad team. So, do you think Abhishek Sharma can captain the team, or Mayank Agarwal? Mayank Agarwal did show a lot of positivity in terms of him taking over the Punjab team, but the Punjab team once again not entrusting him and splitting ways with him. It's a very typical Punjab thing to do. So, can Mayank Agarwal finally find a way in terms of breaking through with the Sunrise Hyderabad squad, because they've got a very, very strong coaching staff like so Brian Lara, Dale Steyn, Mutaya Muralidharan.
They
It's
have got the most
all of legends out there.
balanced coaching staff and the most balanced team in this IPL so
Now,
far.
if you look at the coaching staff in itself, it has got more than 1,200, 300 wickets there, more than 20,000 runs. A lot of it's a hall of fame out there in terms of coaching staff, and you can look everywhere. You'll find a legend in that coaching arena. Now, VVS Lakshman is with NCA. Also, would have also found him there. How do you see the Sunrisers team shaping up, and who should be the ideal captaincy candidate? Mayank Agarwal is an option for me personally.
Yeah, I think Punjab and Sunrise have kind of swapped their captains. Shikhar Dhawan are going to Punjab, being the captain there. I know, he's not been the captain for Sunrisers recently, but and now I think Mayank Agarwal definitely is a captaincy pick, because it is obvious that Sunrise are coming into this auction to pick their captain, and they have picked Mayank Agarwal for that amount only for that reason, because I don't think anywhere else he would have become the captain as well. So this is where I think, and I feel this is a coaching staff that should entrust him a lot more. I hope they don't do what they did today. We wanted to Mayank Agarwal, but at least not in the near future. You don't see Mayank Agarwal relinquish his captaincy. I think he'll get a good 2 years to prove himself as a captain. He was a great captain. I loved him in that Punjab team. If not for their what do you say, topsy turvy strategy, I think I think there was a time in that Punjab team, if you were playing well, you would be dropped. So this team, I think, is a lot more balanced. He'll have a lot more freedom, and also he'll get his opening spot. I think so. That's where I think he'll be a lot. He'll play with a lot more freedom as well. He won't have to, worry about giving away his wicket, because I think in this team, even if he gets out for a nil, it doesn't. It won't really affect the team's total at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and that's
Definitely,
where
and
I
I think
think
it's a huge burden of his chest to leave that Punjab Kings outfit, because uh, over the last few
No
years we
one
have
wants to
seen
be
that.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
No one wants to
Because
be
last few
there.
years we just saw how dependent they were on KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, and this
Yeah.
this time I think Punjab Kings have a lot to prove, and I think
a
they
lot to prove rather, and
yeah.
I think we will talk about Punjab Kings also in depth. Let's go to the next team. We find if you have to rate the squad, I think this has been the most balanced team out of the five
Best
we've
so far.
analyzed until now. And this looks like a team who can go out to play the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, it'll be a disappointment. It'll be only because of they couldn't play in the conditions. Conditions defeating them could be the only reason why they'll not make it to the playoffs. Because
But I think
remember,
they have the
Rahul
experience. They
Tripathi is
have the
also
experience
part of
heads
this
of.
explosive
Uh,
team.
yeah, they have the experience head of Bhuvneshwar Kumar heading that bowling attack, and I think Natarajan has also been a part of that Sunrisers Hyderabad setup for a long time now, and I
Even
Yeah.
if
think
you're
they
not
have
playing
trusted him.
Natarajan, you can play a Karthik Tyagi, Umran Malik, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar alongside Mayank Markande and Washington Sundar as your top five bowlers. And if need be, you can go to Marco Jansen. So there is a lot of plenty of
They have
options
lots of
out there
options.
for
They have
you.
2 3 replacements for each of the players, and that is why I think this is one of the most balanced sides in this IPL.
And they've rebuilt pretty well. They went into the auction to rebuild completely, have a complete transition in terms of squad, and now they have a completely new outlook. And this looks like a squad for the future. And they've really
But I
picked
think
up a
Harry
squad
Brooks
who
will
can
have a
actually sustain for
lot
the
of
next
pressure.
6 years.
I think the only player that will feel the pressure in this unit will be Harry Brooks, because that
Yeah.
amount will haunt him if it does not get the first 2 games. If it does not go on to score a quick fire 30 in the first 2 games, I think that amount is going to come back and haunt him.
That's for sure. That's for sure with every youngster who dons an IPL jersey with a hefty price tag. And that's going to be the case with Sam Curran and Cameron Green as well. But let's go to the next team, a team who played the finals last time around, who came very close to clinching their second IPL title. It is none other than the Rajasthan Royals. They had one of the finest IPL teams last time around when it comes to their balance. They had a very good bowling attack. They had two strong spinners in their team, and Josh Butler had one fantastic season. How do you see them? How do you see them this season? Because they had a very quiet day in terms of their purchases. They picked a lot of players on base price. They also picked up a lot of acquisitions towards the latter end of the latter end of the auction. And also remember, they picked a lot of spinners. If they were to play in Chepauk, they have a complete array of spinners who they can deploy and actually make sure the other team do not score any runs. But they're going to be playing in Jaipur. Still, bigger boundaries can use spinners. Surfaces can be extremely sticky, but still, how do
But
you see
still, I
that
did
this
not
will line up?
understand that strategy, because you already have Chahal and Ashwin in your mix.
Yeah, makes sense.
I
But
mean, if you
still,
have the money, why
in
not?
case you're traveling away, you can
If
still
you have the
that's an
money, why
option which
not
you
send the
can
money?
consider.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Why? Yeah, definitely. If you have the money,
how do
why
you
not?
see that? I'll talk about the first big buy, Jason Holder for 5.75 crores. Uh, and especially this team needed an all rounder. We were talking about how Rajasthan Royals will need an all rounder to bat number seven. Now, considering they about Jason Holder, do you think that it has solved a lot of questions which they had prior to the season?
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke about how they required someone to lengthen that batting order. That was the biggest hole in this team. That's the reason why I felt they did not do well in the finals as well, because the moment they lost a few wickets early, and that can happen in a power play in this era of T20 cricket. The moment they felt, they would start feeling the pressure. I mean, you don't want Ashwin to start walking in the 12th over, 13th over. Now with Jason Holder, that batting lineup is lengthened. And I love my favorite buy. I mean, I would be honest with you guys. I know they had that kind of depth, but I think Adam Zampa is a great buy here. I know he's not gonna be doing much, he's gonna be warming the bench, but you never know. I mean, he could be someone who if he comes in, he could do a great job for this team. Another player again is probably Joe Root. I know he's again another player, he might not do enough. I felt Joe Root fit into that Gujarat Titans setup a lot more than this Rajasthan Royal setup. But he could be another player who could be a X factor, because I think with his bowling, he can do well in that in the large grounds,
Do
as
you see him
Abel
getting
mentioned in Jaipur.
do you see him getting a call up at all? Now, if you look at
No,
this
I don't think
team,
so.
the
I
top four
don't think so,
batsmen,
Abel.
it's a very top heavy
Probably
team
an
this
impact
season.
substitute or something of that sort if Rajasthan feel the heat a little bit. Aside from that, I don't know if that's going to be a case because I
No, but
mean
I think
I
Joe
don't
Root
know
is
if
going
they.
to get one or more games, especially because they don't have Vander Dussen. And I think Joe Root is coming in and he'll be a like to like replacement for Vander Dussen in that middle order.
You guys,
But
I
I
have
think
a
they did play
feeling
Van Anderson in number
this
four, and
team
I
is
thought
going to
Joe Root is a number
make the
four
most
player.
out of the impact substitute rule. Considering if they're going to be playing in grounds like Chepauk, if they're going to be playing in grounds which will aid spin a lot, I think there'll be a possibility where Riyan Parag will make way and a player like Murugan Ashwin might just come in as an impact
Yeah,
substitute for this team. Time and time again, you'll see that happening very, very often with this team because this team likes to tactically do a lot of things, and also Kariappa is
Ashwin
another spin
definitely.
bowling addition they have. So they will tactically use a lot of substitutes, tactically play around against oppositions.
So
Hence, I
basically,
believe
they
someone like
have
Riyan Parag.
Karyappa, they have Yuzvendra Chahal, they have Ashwin, they have Zampa, they have Murugan Ashwin. So that makes it five spinners and five strong spinners at that.
And that's
I
where I
mean,
think
also
it's
if
going
you
to be very
add
tough to play
Jaiswal who
against
can
someone who's very
ball,
friendly in cricket.
Jaiswal can ball, Root can ball. There's a player named Basit, Abdul Basit who can ball. Riyan Parag has been balling in the domestic circuit. So that's a lot of
Abdul
spinners.
Basit is a
That's nine
fantastic
people who can
story as
ball.
well. For people who like some amazing stories related to IPL, Abdul Basit's father is a KSRTC driver in Kerala. He hails from Ernakulam, and his father was off for Shabarimala duty, and Abdul Basit was extremely nervous yesterday when he got the call up. So that's how it changes lives, right? A young boy from Kerala all of a sudden changes his life. Bus driver's son. Now that's the beauty of IPL. It changes lives overnight. And Sanju Samson has a very big role to play in terms of seeing Basit through the Kerala ranks, and did recommend his name straight away. So very, very happy for Abdul Basit. So a lot of players like this do get an opportunity in IPL to change their lives, whatever. But coming back into the whole point, another Malayali who got selected was KM Asif. Once again, Sanju Samson, a Malayali hand played. When a Kerala dominant team is there, it's the Rajasthan Royals, and a lot of Malayalis have that liking towards Rajasthan Royals because of Sanju Samson, and also because of what this guy brings. How do you see this team line up, Jaren? Because last time around, we did have our reservations in terms of saying that Sanju Samson should be using someone like a Devdutt Patikal much better. Devdutt Patikal batting at number four. Were you happy with that, or do you still think Devdutt Patikal can make a career out of batting at number four for Rajasthan Royals?
I really feel Devdutt Padikkal was an unnecessary buy for them in that auction because he doesn't fit into that. If you don't play him in the power play, you can't play him efficiently. I feel he's someone who's a power play bully. That's the best way to put it because even when he played for RCB, right? There was this cricket Kerala cricket fix is here as we spoke about Rajasthan and the Mallu connection. But I mean, talking about the whole point, I feel able even when he played for RCB, right? You would tell me better when in his breakout season, he was the moment the power play came on, he just slowed down and it became too difficult for the other team as well. For Rajasthan, we saw him, struggle to get boundaries. For a number four player, you need to be scoring at least one boundary every six balls. It's just so much required. That's the way this game has moved on. And I don't think now with the kind of additions they've had, I really don't think, because I feel Riyan Parag is a much better number four player than David Padikkal because Riyan Parag in number four has done so well for his in the domestic circuit. He's been scoring runs left and right, and I think it's important that he gets that opportunity. Riyan Parag, David Padikkal, I think he should really be traded away. I mean, I think David Padikkal. It's not good for David Padikkal's career itself that he is playing for Rajasthan at number four in this team.
Devda Padikar, I thought was playing out of position. Teju also rightly mentions that how he was playing out of position. And I remember as an
Yeah.
RCB fan rather, he was really struggling to get going at certain stages in game, and especially in
I mean,
phases of game where it really
I
changes
think
things
able
around. He does not
a
have a
team like
game to really
Kolkata
take the attack on.
this I think a team like Kolkata would have loved to have a player like David Padikkal because they needed an opener. He could have been that opener. He could have really given them that impetus. Obviously, they've got their openers now. But what I'm trying to say is it's not good for Padikkal's career batting at number four because he's really fallen off the radar ever since he started playing for Rajasthan.
Absolutely, or maybe even a team like Gujarat Titans would have really liked to have had
Yeah.
someone like Devdutt Padikkal up top, because they needed a top three batter. But playing a number four for him is way too low and it does not really help him. So Kerala Cricket Free says Asif, Basit, and Samson, stop us if you can. And he says Vamo, Rajasthan. So I still think he's in a football fever out there to bring in Vamo and Rajasthan.
I
But
think it's
nonetheless,
Padharo. It's Padharo Rajasthan. That's what
it
command
is
is, if I'm
Hala
not
ball
wrong.
anyway. So Vamo still means come on. So come on, Rajasthan makes absolute sense. I like the fact that we were talking about Rajasthan and Kerala Cricket Free rightly steps the accelerator there and actually peeps in at the right time. So I hope for Rajasthan as well, they peak at the right time, unlike the last season, go one step ahead. So Adibari, coming to you, how do you see this team? If you have to put up starting 11, how will it look like? For me personally, it's going to be Josh Butler, Yashasvi Jaiswal. With the kind of form Yashasvi Jaiswal has shown, there is no reason why he shouldn't be starting for this team. He should be batting in the top two. He should be the second pick on the team or third pick on the team after Sanju Samson and Josh Butler. And at number three is going to be Sanju Samson himself. At number four, I'll rather play Riyan Parag ahead of Devdutt Padikkal. At number five is definitely going to be Shimran Hetmai. Number six can be Jason Holder. And I'll just pull out the team. It could be Ashwin at number seven, but I'll also look at different options who can give me that all round depth in terms of batting at number seven. Can it be someone like an Akash Vashisht who had a decent season? Akash Vashisht, I think, is a very decent option who can actually rely upon. Ashwin at number seven did a decent job. You can still go in with Ashwin. At number eight, you can go in with any of the bowling options as well. But Devdutt Padikkal number four, once again, I still think will be the option. And also, you have Jason Holder in this team. So, how do you see this playing 11 lineup? Because now with the kind of impact substitute rule also being there, this team can absolutely maximize that impact substitute rule compared to any other team, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we have had this conversation for Rajasthan Royals since the last season that Riyan Parag has not been used properly with the bat. Riyan Parag is a better player when he comes into bat at the top order in at number 3 or number 4. He usually bats at number 3, number 4 for Assam. And then whenever he has come in, like he has been slotted up at the top of the order, he has done well for the side. But having said that, Rajasthan Royals is also a top heavy side. You have four openers fighting for that number three or four spots in between, and I would still have Devdutt Padikkal in my team because I think it will be unfair on to sort of drop Devdutt Padikkal, even though he did not have the best of seasons in the last time around because he did not get opportunities because the we were not having exactly very high scoring games, so his lack of providing going at a strike rate of over in excess of 140 150 right from the set go, it was not affecting Rajasthan
Okay,
Royals so much.
I'll take that point, Sandeep, but now the pitches are going to be even more difficult because now they're going to be playing what 7 games in Jaipur. Jaipur is not the easiest of surface to bat on. It can be extremely sticky, especially
Yeah,
come the
but
sixth or seventh game
the
on the
problem
surface.
is that would favor Devdutt Padikkal's batting, right? In pitches which
No,
are
no, no.
difficult
That
to
it's
bat,
not going to
you
be
would
the
not
call
have.
because David Particle relies batting on truer surfaces than playing on slower surfaces. Now, if you look
No,
at the
but
last
my point
one
being,
season, even
he
for
can have the time
Karnataka,
to settle
he's
down.
gone off the radar. He's got completely off the radar even for Karnataka state team. So he's not had the best of last 1 year at all. Now you're asking him to come back at number four in a
But
tournament
then,
like IPL
the
where he do not have the
only
game.
possible solution that you have for Rajasthan Royals is to find a youngster who can come in and bat at the top of the order. Even if you have Riyan Parag at number 4, I still feel Shimran Hetmeyer at number 5. You can't have Jason Holder and Ashwin coming in at number 6 and number 7. So yeah, Jason Holder, Ashwin should be on number 7, number 8. You should still have that one batter or probably batting all rounder at number 6. So
Makes sense.
Rajasthan will have to
I
get.
still think you can go in with Riyan Parag at number five. Anything less than number five for Riyan Parag is in
No,
itself is
I'm
not a
saying
good way to
even
go
if you
about.
slot in Riyan Parag at number 4, if you go ahead with the combination that you mentioned, Sanju Samson at number 3, Josh Butler and Jaiswal opening the opening for the team. At number 4, if they go ahead with Riyan Parag, you'll have to have Shimran Hetmeyer at number 5, and then at number 6 and number 7, you have to find a player for number 6. Probably Shimran Hetmar will come down the order. You can play Joe Root. That is where the impact substitution will come in handy for the team. I mean, Jaden, you
Very
are
true.
muted. Yeah.
I'll just add to this debate. I think the fact that Rajasthan did not look for a middle order batter, a number four batter, is the only reason for that is because they entrust that opportunity, that they still trust the other particle to come good, because they don't have a middle order batter who will fit in that position, an Indian batter rather. The only player that they have is then Joe Root. Like if they play Joe Root in number four, that means they have to choose between Holder and Bolt. I think that just doesn't make sense given the price that they've paid for Holder, given what Bolt means to this team. I think that just means they have to play David Padikkal for another season. But I'll agree with Teju here. I don't think Padikkal and Rajasthan are a fit. I think it's the same with CSK and Jagdishan, right? Jagdishan is a talented player. He was always a talented player, but Chennai could not play him any more than four. I mean, five rather. They always played him at five, six, seven. That is not the position Jagdishan plays. That's not the position you expect him to bat at. Same way, I
I'll
think
tell you,
Padikkal
I'll
as
tell you
well.
a very, very fine example, Jaren. IPL final 2022, where David was put in at number four. He struggled a lot. He consumed a lot of balls, which actually was detrimental for this Rajasthan Royals team in crashing out for 130 odd in the final as well. He was batting completely out of order. He had no idea what he was doing. Even in that playoff stage, you saw when you're putting in good quality bowling against David Padikkal, he tends to take a lot of time. He tends to consume a lot of balls, and he does not have the game to get going. And now he's going to be playing in bigger grounds in Jaipur, which will actually hamper his game even further. So, does it really make any sense to have someone like a David Patil in your team, or rather go in with a middle order back like Akash Vashist, who you can actually try
Yeah.
out and maybe trade off David Patil?
So
The
as
best
Sanjivani said,
possible.
this team right now, able they need to either find a new player or they need to really stick with Devdutt Padikkal. They haven't. I mean,
I
or
think you
they
can keep
just
David
trust
Patil
Devdutt
as a
Padikkal for a
backup
year.
for Yashasvi Jaiswal. Because Yashasvi Jaiswal will start in my team any day. So you can keep David Patil as a backup for Yashasvi
So who do
Jaiswal.
you play number four then? You trust
Number four, you can bring in more. Possibly, you can actually play Ryan Parag at number four, Akash versus at number five, and Shubman Hetmyer at six, and Jason Holder at
Yeah.
seven.
So that
You
that
can
that
afford to
if
play
you
a
want
player
to
like
have that solution, you'll have to bring in an inexperienced player at number five for the team,
yeah.
because
and
what
that is what my
happens
point
is
is. You don't have the
because you're slotting in Devdutt particular number four, you are taking off the utility of Riyan Parag. At the same
Hmm.
time, Devdutt Padikal's utility also gets decreased or diminished by a large margin. So it is a risk which you're taking, which does not benefit your team in any extent. So if you want
Yeah.
to take the risk of slotting in Devdutt Padikal just to play
But then
him,
they should have
which means
just traded off Devdutt Padikkal at the start when they had the option. They shouldn't
It's
have
true.
retained
they should
him.
have, but still, I think the other particle will be useful for this team as a backup for Yashasvi Jaiswal. You can keep him in your team, but keep him as a backup for Yashasvi Jaiswal, but do not play him out of position, which does not give any utility for Devdutt Padikkal or the team or to another player as well, because that really takes off the utility of Riyan Parag as well. Because we've been blaming Riyan Parag time and time again. What's the same? It's the same point, right? If you want to use Riyan Parag, you have to use him in top four.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think
And Riyan
I think
Parag
he
is
is
one
a
of those
player.
players who takes if he can get settled, if he gets those 10-15 balls that he needs to sort of set the eye in, and then he's a totally different player altogether. He's a Riley Russo sort of a player. You need to just calm his nerves, just stay in the crease for 10-15 deliveries, and then he'll go after the bowling.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's what it'll look like. I hope they'll not have to send Ashwin once again. And number three, I don't think it's a long term option. It can work on days.
I don't
Because
want to see the experiment that Lucknow Super Giants did with their team. I don't want to see Holder or Ashwin coming in at number three. They had
Yeah.
Gotham Holder coming in at number three, number four, because they did not have enough top order specialist batsmen, and Rajasthan Royals is heading towards that direction. If they
In
don't
the middle
sort
order,
of get
yeah.
in a player like Vashisht, so that is a decision that they'll have to make.
I think playing Vashish is not a bad option at all. Or go in with David Patikal for the first two games and see how things go from there on. You never know. If David Patikal has a couple of very good games where he's batting at 160 odd, coming in at number four, gets going, then everything looks good all of a sudden. But if it doesn't happen after the first 2 to 3 games, then you'll have to say bye to David Patikal and look at another option, possibly Akash Vashish there. But having said that, let's go to the next team. It is the Delhi Capitals. What we
But
have.
just to settle the debate, I think we can still have a team where they don't need a batsman and they can adopt that Lucknow Super Giants or Gujarat Titans sort of an approach, where they can go ahead with the same top three: Butler, Jaiswal, and Samson. At number four, you can have Riyan Parag. At number five, you can have Shimran Hetmeyer. Holder at six. You can have Ashwin at seven, and then you have Kuldeep Sen. You have Prasidh Krishna, Trent Bolt, and Chahal to fill in the 8, 9, 10, 11 slots.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Let's go to the next team. It is none other than the Delhi Capitals. Came very close to qualifying in the last season. Did not have the last season, but if you look from 2020 or 2019 rather, they've been one of the most consistent teams in making the playoffs. Came very close to winning it in 2021, 2020 rather. Had a chaotic auction, one could say so, in terms of them acquiring a lot of top order bats, and also at the same time acquiring a lot of Indian bowlers when they already had a very strong Indian bowling unit. How do you think their auction went about, Jaren? Because if we talk about their bowling, if we talk about their squad depth rather, you have a lot of variety in terms of their Indian bowling. But when we talk about their batting, it's completely top order heavy. Now, also considering the fact that Rishabh Pant also prefers batting in the top four, who do you really slot in for this team? Because this team is totally top order heavy. Even in the auction, they went for Manish Pandey surprisingly, and Wiley Russo, who's another top order bat.
Yeah, well, according to what I know, I mean, I have here, they've got eight top order bats. I'll tell you those names. It's Shaw, Jash Dul, Sarfaraz Khan. I am adding him into the top order list because I feel
Yeah.
that's where he really belongs, even though he's not really been tried out there. Phil Salt, David Warner, Manish Pandey, Mitch Marsh, and Riley Russo. That's eight top order batsmen. And then you've got only two lower order batters. If you even add, Hakeem Khan as someone who can swing the bat a little bit, so that's where I think they will lack is where they really lack is a finisher. They will require Robin Powell to do that job for them. And even Pant as you mentioned, Pant wants to bat in the top order. Now you don't want him to be the ninth player because then that'll almost mean you have a top order full. You have a top 11 full of top order bats. But having said that, it was a bit chaotic as you rightly mentioned. I feel in terms of their bowling, though, they're a lot more balanced, but they don't have, again, they don't have a lot of backup options. They have a lot of pace, right arm pacers. As again, you mentioned, you did talk about Ishant Sharma, you have Nagar Koti. They also have Khalil Ahmed Sakari and Rahman with that, Mustafidur Rahman with the left arm pace. But in terms of spin, they have off spinners. What they have is Oswal and Lalit Yadav. Leg spinners is Praveen Dubey. Left arm spinners only Akshar Patel, and left arm leg spinner is Kuldeep Yadav. So not a lot of spin options as well. So
I think
I don't really know.
Akshar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav are a sure starter for this team,
Yeah,
and also I
absolutely.
think
But
Lalit Yadav is another
if
option
you
they
look
have.
at it, if not them both, you don't really have a lot of backup options. You don't have
You have
in case
Praveen
an
Dubey and
injury
you have Vicky
befalls on any
Oswal.
of them.
Those are the only backup options you have at this point.
Exactly, right. You can't obviously expect Otswal or Lalit Yadav, who are really part timers, to be doing that job if anything happens to Akshar Patel or Kuldeep Yadav. I think Kuldeep Yadav here is so important for them now that he's their only, what do you say? And there's obviously Praveen Dubey as well. But you don't really see that experience in their spin options. They are a team of top orders. They've become the Sunrisers, and I think they're going to struggle a lot.
Very
See,
interesting.
I'll simply
Sunil,
tell
coming
you
to
what
you on
happened.
that.
I'll simply tell you what happened last time around. Delhi's strategy in the auction was to just raise the price of the players, and I think that just backfired on them.
Yeah,
They had a
absolutely. I
horrible
think what is
auction. I
going
think
on.
this is one of the
Yeah,
they'll be definitely kicking themselves. Riley Russo, Phil Salt, Manish Pandey. You don't need them. You don't need them. They were just trying to get the prices high. I mean, 2.4 crores, 4.6 crores, 2 crores. They expected them to go for a bit higher. It did not happen. It did not happen, and their strategy backfired on them. And I think the
yeah.
only correct buy, according to me, this auction for Delhi Capitals has been Mukesh Kumar. Uh, Having said that, I think Delhi
But
Capitals
did
already
Mukesh
had
Kumar
a
even
very
start for
I don't
this
think we need
team?
Mukesh Kumar
yeah,
Did
either.
Mukesh
but
Kumar
that
definitely
is my
start for
point.
this
I
team?
mean, Delhi Capitals already have a very good bowling lineup. They have retained all their uh, bowling starters who were sort of starting the game for them, and then they raked in Mukesh Kumar for 5.5 crores. Out of the 10 teams, if one team will be kicking themselves for this auction, I think it will be Delhi Capitals.
I mean, I think Delhi Capitals doing blunders is a continuous occurrence now. I'm very surprised what under par Jindal it's been happening. I thought they had a lot more proactiveness since 2020 in terms of their buys, but this auction has been just awful for them. There has been no
Horrible.
clarity as to who they
And I
wanted.
was
They just
absolutely
wanted bunch of
shocked even
players.
when Pa Jindal came on to say that Cam Green, we wanted Cam Green so bad, we were ready to change our batting order. What were you supposed to do? Would you push David Warner, Prithvi Shaw down the order? And they've got
Doesn't
the
make
best
any sense.
opening pair in the last IPL, I would say, in terms of at least on paper, right?
and
Those
also the
two
la-
really
and
complemented each
also the
other.
best top four. The best top four.
Yeah.
Mitchell Marsh was in red hot form. You had Sarfaraz Khan in whatever opportunities he got at the top, he delivered. He used to come in at number three, score a
So
quick fire
now, I
30 runs
mean,
or
and
20 odd balls.
look at their pace bowling attack, right? Right before the auction, they had Chetan Sakaria, Khalil Ahmed, Mustafizur Rahman, and then they
Andrik
had
Nokia and
And
Lungi
Andrik
another
Ngidi.
Nokia
another
Let's
great
not
point by
forget.
Teju.
leading.
Another great point by Teju. The only new ball bowler that they have bought this season, Mukesh, and also Ishan Sharma, all are new ball bowlers. Ishan Sharma, Mukesh. You have Mustafizur Rahman. You have Chetan Sakaria. You have Henrik Nortje can probably the only bowler who is flexible and can come in the middle overs.
Yeah, you don't have
But
a
other
death ball
than that,
Even
option as
Khalil
well,
Ahmed
except
can
for
come in the
Mustafizur
middle
Rahman.
overs. But barring all these factors, I really do not understand why did they go for someone like a Manish Pandey. How does he fit into this team at any stage? Now, if you're talking about Delhi team, I see Prithvi Shaw, David Warner opening. Mitchell Marsh, if he's fit, he'll bat number three. Rishabh Pant number four. At number five, you'll have a Rahman Powell. At number six, you'll have a Lalit Yadav. At number seven is where they'll have to find a batter. Number seven, it's going to be very interesting who they go in
Akshar
with.
Patel. They have Akshar Patel
Akshay,
at number seven.
okay, they
I
have
think
Akshay
Lalit
Patel at number
Yadav,
seven.
guys, I have a feeling Lalit
No,
Yadav
but
might have to
then
put in
but then
there.
Abel, the point they are going to start with the same team that they had the last time around.
Yeah.
Then why go on and buy Riley Russo, Manish Pandey, Mukesh Kumar, Ishant Sharma, and Phil Salt to warm your bench?
Doesn't make any
I
sense
think
for me either.
yeah, but Mukesh Kumar can get a go. Can get a go ahead because they have traded Shardul Thakur, so probably Mukesh Kumar can
Oh,
come in
can I
his
even if
place.
just, Sandeep, I mean, so sorry. Can I
even if
just
Mukesh
interrupt right
Kumar
there?
doesn't get a go, even if Mukesh Kumar gets a go, I think that'll be unfair on someone like a Chetan Sakriya because last time
Yeah.
around there was a lot of swap between Chetan Sakriya and Khalil Ahmed to get that spot. I think finally it has come to a point where Chetan Sakriya and Khalil Ahmed can find a spot. And remember, they should also go in with a Lungi Engri and Andrik Nokia alongside a Kuldeep Yadav to make this into a complete bowling attack. I think Khalil, Andrik Nokia, and Lungi Ngidi will make that three fast bowlers alongside Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel. This is going to be their top five. Then Rahman Powell, Mitchell Marsh, and Lalit Yadav can all chip in with an over here or there. So that's pretty much going to be their complete bowling unit alongside their part-time options. I don't see Mukesh Kumar even coming into this team unless they feel Mukesh Kumar is a better option than Chetan Sakriya.
I mean, even Sandipani, now that you mentioned, both of you mentioned, I really don't understand the trade deal they made. You're giving Shardul Thakur away for the. I mean, I know he's a great talent, yes, but Shardul Thakur is an India player, and you don't do that at all. I mean, I understand you want to reduce your purse, but if that was your whole idea, you could have just released Shardul Thakur. You've basically gift wrapped Shardul
I
Thakur and
still
given him
think
to
Rahman
Kolkata.
Powell is still not your ideal middle order bat, and middle order is some place they're going to struggle a lot. They do not have enough batting depth. You're going to be relying heavily on Lalit Yadav, who has not yet delivered for you. You're still relying heavily on Akshar Patel. He can pull you out of a hole once in 10 matches. And once again, even Team India is relying on Akshar Patel tomorrow to pull you out of a hole if things go well. So I don't think Akshar Patel can pull you out of a hole time and time again in T20 format. And we've already seen that him in T20 colors for Team India as well. So I don't see Akshar Patel is the ideal number seven batter for you. Lalit Yadav is batting also one position ahead of him in IPL. Lalit Yadav at number six is also way ahead. I don't see him as a match winner. At number five, you're having Rahman Powell. Rahman Powell is a hit and miss player. He's not going to be the
Yeah.
most consistent. At number five, you need a player who can be consistent, who can be an X factor. I don't see that from Rahman Powell. You should have possibly saved the money and gone for someone like a Harry Brook.
Hmm.
They definitely need specialist batsmen in that middle order, and I think it's been the case. They
For me, I
have
think
too
for
many
me more
players
than
for
that,
only
they
two
needed a
positions: new
finisher.
ball bowlers and
Yeah.
top order batters. And I
I
think
think
that
they
is
need a.
some.
I think for me they needed a finisher because for me they've got. Okay, you have to tell Pant to really be the middle order batter. You cannot fit him in the top order. I think for me they can still manage in the middle order. Where they really lack is at numbers five, number six, number seven, a finisher. They don't have a finisher. If you get through the top order, they need this top order now needs to bat 15 overs. If they don't bat
Definitely,
15
and
overs,
because
this team is
especially
done.
because Lalit Yadav, Akshar Patel have both struggled in last season, we could see that how vulnerable this team was towards the later half of the innings. If you did
Yeah.
not have,
You needed a
if
Mumbai
you
Indians
had
bowling
lost
attack
David
to
Warner
help
early on.
this lower order do well.
And remember, our in that top seven, three of them will be overseas players, which is not the best combination to go ahead for any team, unless you have a very strong Indian bowling contingent, which I
But
don't
they
think is
don't
the case
have.
here.
They'll just try Enric Norkie, and they have a plethora of new ball bowlers, new ball Indian
And
bowlers
that's the issue. That's
for
the
them.
issue.
Yeah.
There's going to be one end which is going to leak a lot of runs once again. Like last time, if Andre Nokia doesn't get in with them, or if Andre Nokia faces any injury, this team is absolutely gone. They will have
But
huge, huge holes to
then
fill.
again, Mustafizur Rahman will have to play a very crucial role for the team, because Mustafizur and Enric Norke both cannot play because they'll probably try Mitchell Marsh, David Warner, and Robin Powell. It's a no brainer. So probably they might even experiment with. They might even go with Phil Salt in one of the games in place of Robin Powell if he struggles, because he's a too hot, too cold sort of a player. And Mitchell Marsh's injury concern is a huge threat
For
for the
me,
side
I
as well.
mean, for me, guys, if this team hasn't won the match by the middle overs, this team is done with the bat and
Yeah.
the ball. If you look at the bat, with the bat,
But I
this
think
team
middle
has to
overs
have
is
the
where
top.
they struggle with the ball, because I think they have enough death over bowlers. Chetan Sakaria is one
Middle
player
overs,
I
they
was
still
very
do well,
impressed.
Sandipani, because Kuldeep Yadav is a
Akshar
positive
Patel,
sign
Kuldeep
for
Yadav
them.
is a great mix. If they
So
are
I think
fit, they'll do well.
with ball, I think they are still covered, because Chetan Sakaria is one player that I was very interested in right from the time that he was in Rajasthan Royals. I think Rajasthan Royals misused him greatly. I mean, he used to get those starting positions, but I think he was a far greater talent to not play in every game. So Chetan Sakaria should start for me, and that means there will be no place for Mukesh Kumar, because Chetan Sakaria can bowl in the death overs. You have Andrik Norkie who can contribute towards the death, but Khalil Ahmed will go for runs, and he just relies on those slower deliveries, and we have seen one-dimensional bowlers can find it very difficult towards the later stages of the innings. I mean, I'll receive a lot of hate for it. Khalil Ahmed is a world class new ball bowler, but
But I
sorry,
think
not the
Khalil
best
Ahmed has
player.
had a very good domestic season
But
in
I
terms of
mean, for
starting to
me,
circle
this
and
is what
blockers.
I'm.
He's upped his pace, started bowling a lot more Yorkers. He's much more better in terms of his death bowling
And Delhi
acumen.
Capitals would need him to nail those Yorkers towards the later half of the innings, because they don't have any other option.
So for me, guys, here's the reason why I think till they need to win till the middle overs, right? Out of those top three, Mitch Marsh, Prithvi Shaw, David Warner, they will need at least one player to bat till the seventh or the eighth over. It's compulsory. They have to bat till the eighth over. And that man has to be David Warner because I think Mitch Marsh, Prithvi Shaw are gonna go after the bowling. I don't expect them to really play till the eighth, ninth over. Rishabh Pant will have to bat till the 13th, 14th over. And then, actually, to be very honest, Rishabh Pant might have to bat till the 18th over because they will need David Warner, Rishabh Pant, these three players, these top five players will one of them will have to play till the 18th, 19th over because otherwise I don't expect this team to do. Then they have to either sacrifice Rahman Powell or Mustafizur Rahman. If they sacrifice Rahman Powell, then this team becomes even more weaker. Then you need Rishabh Pant to carry his bat. The moment he comes on to bat, he cannot get out. And if you don't bring in Mustafizur Rahman, you have to make sure the team is 8 down by the 15th over. Because come at the 15th over, you will have to rely on Khalil Ahmed. Or I don't think Chetan Sakaria is playing, guys, because I think this management has really given up on Chetan Sakaria. Chetan Sakaria himself went out to say, right, that I think this management has mistreated me. I don't know, I can't exactly quote him. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
Khalil Ahmed is going
I
to
mean, I
start
mean,
ahead
in
of him.
terms of Parth Jindal in the recent past, with a lot of teams which he's been owning, it's not been the best of times for him. Even for Bengaluru FC, as Teju rightly mentioned, I'm a Bengaluru FC fan as well, so I've seen the way in which he's really built that Bengaluru FC team. It was on top of the league. It was the best Indian team at one point of stage, and he's really mismanaged that team. He's really mistreated the players. He did not have any vision there. was very chaotic in terms of his acquisitions, in terms of the way he was embedding a philosophy, which has really made sure that Bengaluru FC are down the drums right now. They are now battling out in the top. They're actually now fighting for top eight place. They're not even in top nine, so that's unfortunate scenes for Bengaluru FC. Similarly, I thought at least he's facing, at least he's planning out better for one franchise, or handling one franchise which is better. That was Delhi Capitals. Now even Delhi Capitals are going in a similar lane. I do not know what exactly is the reason. The philosophy has gone out of the window. They have no planning, no execution
What
in
really
terms of the
hurt
plans.
Delhi for me Abel, is the fact that Rishabh Pant has become a top order bat in T20 cricket. That is really, really put a spanner in their work. If a Rishabh Pant of 2017 or 2019, 2020, or pre 2020, right, before he became this, before the pressure of the Indian team really was brought on him, before that Rishabh Pant would be the linchpin in this team. Then you don't need to play Roman Powell. You can actually afford to play a Manish Pandey in the top three, right? You could still somehow fit him there. You could have asked a Lalit Yadav. You could have managed with any of these players
You
if
can, I
Rishabh
think
Pant
another player
was
that has
aggressive
been
player.
greatly mistreated in this team, sorry to cut you off, Jaren. I think another player who has been severely mistreated in this team has been Sarfaraz Khan. He has just not got enough game time, and I think he is a world class player to not get the recognition and the talent that he is. He has been raking runs in the domestic circuit, and he has broken several records. I think Kedar Jadhav, early on he was not getting recognized before Delhi Daredevils picked him up in the IPL. Kedar Jadhav struggled for a long time in IPL without getting picked by actual IPL teams and without getting to start in the team. Once they recognized his talent, it was probably too late towards the later half of his career. And I don't want the same thing to happen to Sarfaraz Khan. I think he's another player who is in great form. He is a run scoring machine. He can be a great anchor. If Mitchell Marsh is not fit, I it would be a no brainer. I would go with Sarfaraz Khan at number three
And I
for the team.
mean, it won't be a bad option, Sandivani, as you mentioned, because that can help them crack that difficulty, because then they can play Rahman Powell and Mustafizur Rahman together. Because say whatever about Rahman Powell, he's your best middle order bat right now. Because if you look at the middle order, the three players that I have, I mean the five players that I have, Powell, Pant, Lalit Yadav, Otswal, and Ripple Patel. I think Pant. I still think Pant is an opener or a number three batter now. The way he plays in T20 cricket, that means you have to have Powell play, and only way I see
Especially
that
with the
happening is
added
not drop Mitchell
responsibilities.
Marsh.
I think the way Rishabh Pant has adapted and changed his game once Shreyas Iyer got injured in that 2021 season or 2020 season has been not, I would not say downfall for Rishabh Pant, because he has been scoring those runs, but he has become more responsible and he looks to play
But I
throughout the
mean,
innings.
that's a trend, right? We have to talk about this. KL
That's a trend
Rahul,
with the
Ishan
Indian
I
cricket.
Kishan.
mean, that's also because of the pressure. That's also because of the way in which I think he feels as a captain he should be batting a certain way, which I don't think is the
And I
right
mean,
way
even
to
it's not
approach the
just the
game.
captaincy players, right? I'll give you a list: KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya. Look at the list. I think Rituraj Gaikwad is going in that direction. Look at so many of these players who were picked up from IPL franchises, went on to play for India, came back as anchors. India is mass producing anchors right now.
It's not a good thing at all. Maybe maybe in franchise cricket you can still get away with it, but in terms of Team India, in terms of international cricket, the demands are way
And
too high.
India are not producing these anchors in the test format, which is also affecting Team India. They have been relying on their middle order
Yeah.
to do the job for
No,
them.
in test format, I don't think they're playing the natural game as well. Even test format is moving quite rapidly. When you need to play in a certain way, you can't get into a shell. I think India is still stuck also in test format, which the game has been evolving pretty quickly. Biggest dumb decision was to let go of Shreyas. Delhi won't make it to top six, they say. Prithvi is a better captain is another
I
thing
mean,
which people think.
Azil dumb for some, and it was a boon for us, right? KKR really needed
I
a
mean,
good
I
captaincy
don't think
material at
Rishabh
that
Pant
point.
and Shreyas Iyer, the kind of egos that were forming, they could have coexisted in the Delhi team. Shreyas wanted to be the captain. Rishabh wanted to be the captain. There could only be one captain. Parth Jindal chose Rishabh Pant because he had much better. I'm not saying Rishabh Pant is a bad captain, but at that point
I
in
thought
time,
Rishabh Pant
especially
was a
because
better
Rishabh Pant,
marketable asset at that point of stage,
exactly,
right
he was
after
a
the
better
Borden Outfit
marketable asset,
Trophy.
and that's the reason why you went with Rishabh
But
Pant
but
because
Rishabh Pant,
Delhi's.
I
Yeah.
think, I mean, with no offense to Rishabh Pant, but I think he has been the weakest of the all 10 teams in the last season. When you talk about captaincy, I think Rishabh Pant has made some questionable choices in his team selection. Probably the management was a part of it as well, and some very questionable choices in crucial junctures, not
No, I
to
think,
use spinners in certain
yeah,
intervals. I
Sanjivani,
think
you're
he
right,
was
because
he was
I
tactically
won't just
very very
blame.
weak.
I won't blame the management because Sandivani, for me, Rishabh Pant made those choices in clutch moments. For example, giving, I think the worst error I've seen him make was when he gave Tom Curran that over against MS Dhoni. That was just a bad decision. And MS Dhoni's eyes lit up when Tom Curran started bowling. And then it was just game over. I know it was a clutch performance from Amazon in that tournament. It was probably one of the most defining moments for CSK's title run. But it could have been a defining moment for Delhi's title run if Rishabh Pant had made the right choice there.
Not just that,
Definitely.
they do remember Rishabh Pant also got signed by JSW after Boda Gavaskar Trophy. There's a lot of tie-ups right there, which made Rishabh
Yeah,
Pant
yeah,
as a favorite player for many of them in the JSW group, which also made sure that there was only one way out. And remember, Shreyas Iyer did not get removed right there. It is because Shreyas Iyer got injured during that England series before the IPL, which made him to sit out. Then the IPL
Yeah.
got postponed. By the time Shreyas Iyer was back for the second leg, the choice was made. Rishabh Pant is the way to go, was the choice which was
And
made,
also, I think a
which I
lot
don't
has
think
to
was
do
the most
with this
ideal one.
franchises. When you talk about franchises and cricket, the market value matters a lot. And I think at that point of time, I think Rishabh Pant was way superior in terms of market value when you compare him with Shreyas Iyer, because Shreyas Iyer was not even a sure shot starter for the Indian team, and Rishabh Pant was making a name for himself, was single handedly winning games for them.
Yeah, that's what it is. Let's talk about the next team, which is the Punjab Kings. Punjab Kings, one of the biggest buys the all-time. They've broken the all-time record in signing Sam Curran, 18.25 crores. Huge buy in Sam Curran. 18.5 crores rather. Massive buy. Went down to buy Sikandar Raza in an impressive acquisition. Now they've got a new captain, Shikhar Dhawan there. Complete English contingent. How do you see this team? Because they have a Ditesh Sharma, they have a Raj Bawa, a Liam Livingston, Kakiso Rabada, Arshdeep Singh, altogether a very power-packed team. Also adding Banuka Rajapaksha into the side alongside Prab Simran Singh and Shah Rukh Khan. Explosive side, one can say so. How do you think this team has fared out in the auction?
I think if the question's to me, yeah, I think another team that was obviously trying to rebuild, that was their whole idea. Sam Curran was a no-brainer. Everyone wanted him. He was just that hot property this time around. But I don't know how well he will do in Punjab. I mean, he has had moments there, but I mean, we said this initially as well, right? Sam Curran is a great bowler, but if you look at his skill set, I think it really fits more into those dry pitches or a pitch which is or a ground which is longer. So maybe he would have done a much better job in Rajasthan or Chennai. But he's there now. I think he's a lot more mature than what he was as a player when he had been in this Punjab team before. For me, one of the best buys has to be Sikandar Raza at 50 lakhs because he could be a good player at that lower order for them. But going over this team now, I think you won't see the same team that you saw last time around. I don't know if they'll be able to follow the same ideology that they had last time around. One place that they really lack, though, I would say, is I think in terms of they've got almost everything right. I think the only thing that they lack is a off spinner in terms of I think they
Jaren,
don't have a very good
they lack
off spinner.
stability. I think this
I
team
mean,
lacks stability.
this
There
team
is no
is a team,
stability in
which
this
is a
team.
house of cards, really, because if things go well for them, they can be a very good team. They've got the guns for it. But if they don't
Yeah.
do as well, if things go wrong for them, I think this team can implode. They've got everything. It's like it's a powder keg. If it explodes, it can explode. It can really destroy enemy lines. But if it implodes, it can really destroy this team, and it can again end up at the ninth or the 10th spot.
Interesting. How do you see Shikhar Dhawan's captaincy choice, Sandipani? Because Shikhar Dhawan has been leading India recently in the one-day format. Has had recent success as a as an Indian captain as well. But when we talk about Shikhar Dhawan, how is he going to be leading this team? Because there's a lot of pressure which comes with leading this Punjab franchise, because you know the job security in a Punjab franchise is very minimal compared to any other franchise. So you are under scrutiny from the moment you take up that
He did
reins
not
as
have a
captain of the
choice.
Punjab team.
He did not have a choice. Shikhar Dhawan just did not have a choice. Just look at the squad. You won't find a single batter who can sort of play that stable sort of a knock, anchor sort of a knock, apart from Shikhar Dhawan at the top. You have Johnny Bairstow, aggressive, explosive, Bhanuka Rajapaksha. There is Prabsimran Singh. Then anyone. I mean, Sikandar Raza, Liam Livingston, Shah Rukh Khan, Raj Bawa. All of them play that sort of okay. Raj Bawa. Raj Bawa is one player that probably they would look to start more often, because I think, like I said, Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad were the two teams who had made the most amount of changes, and they had to benefit the most from this auction. On one side, Hyderabad has done the best job possible, but Sunrisers had Punjab Kings not really, because just take out Sam Curran and Sikandar Raza. Sikandar Raza is a great buy, is a steal at 50 lakhs, but where do you get to play him? Because if Johnny Bairstow is fit, you have Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingston, Kagiso Rabada starting for you. So Sam Curran with 18.25 crores is definitely going to start for you. So Sikandar Raza will not get to play in that team, and you don't have enough Indian experienced batters in that setup. The bowling team
Yeah.
looks solid. Arshdeep Singh, Kagiso Rabada, and Sam Curran coming in. I think that's one of the most lethal death bowling combinations in this IPL. And like Jaden said, if they have on their best of days, they are going to dominate teams. They are going to dominate the best of teams. But you can expect 2 out of 3 games where they'll completely crumble, because they don't have stability. Stability is something that they lacked last season around, because they were heavily dependent and reliant on Shikhar Dhawan to do the job for them with the bat early on. With Raj Bawa, I think Raj Bawa is going to play a very integral part in this team if he gets to start. That is, with Punjab management, you are never sure. So if he gets to start, I think Raj Bawa is going to hold the key for Punjab Kings batting, because there is Jiten Shah, all these players, Jiten. Then you have Liam
How
Livingston.
do you see
All
this
of
team
them.
lining up, though? For me personally, I feel Shikhar Dhawan is going to open with Johnny Bairstow. At
Yeah.
number three, it's going to be very interesting because I'd like to see someone like Jitesh Sharma take the mantle. But at the same time, who do you really deploy at number three? Because you have Vanuka Rajapaksha, you have
But
Liam
you can't
Livingston.
play
But ideally,
Bhanuka Rajapaksha if you go on to play Liam Livingston, Sam Curran, and Kagiso Rabada.
see, I'm pretty sure Sam Curran is a starter alongside Kagiso Rabada. So that's two overseas slots filled for you. And so it's between Liam
And I think
Livingston
Liam Livingston is a
and
no-brainer
Vanuka
right now,
Rajapaksa.
because he is one of the most valuable assets in T20 cricket right now. So
At
I
this
oh
point,
yeah,
at this point, this
talking
team
about talking
already
about
has a
Andre
lot of
Russell not
issues.
being a part of
I
BBL,
think
I think Andre Russell is going to make way for Liam Livingston, who was not fit in the first 4 games. So
so.
once Liam
There's an
Livingston is
option for them to play Prabhsimran Singh to open the batting. So that's one of the options they should try out. Prabhsimran Singh to open the batting with Shikhar Dhawan at Johnny Bairstow at three, Liam Livingston at four, Jitesh Sharma at five, uh, and at number six you have an option whether to go with Shah Rukh Khan, and at number seven you have Shah Rukh Khan and Raj Pava, or at number seven you can go in with Sam Curran, of course. Number eight will be your Kagiso Rabada, then Arshdeep Singh, Rahul Chahar, uh, then your bowler Harpreet Brar. You can, I think they should play Harpreet Brar because whatever I've seen of him, he's been a fantastic bowler. He's got that control. He's got a lot of maturity and temperament as a left arm spinner as well. So this is going to be possibly my lineup. So at number eight you'll have Kagiso Rabada. At number nine Arshdeep Singh. At number 10 Rahul Chair and Harpreet Brar. So that's possibly going to be 8, 9, 10, 11. So Arjun
I
Singh
think
at
the
number
bowling
8.
unit is stable. I think the bowling unit is stable with Kagiso Rabada, Sam Curran, Arshdeep Singh, Rahul Chahar, 4 bowlers. You have 16 overs out of them. Last time around, they were struggling because they had Odin Smith in place of Sam Curran. They have actually brought in Sam Curran, and he is a far better choice when it comes to being a replacement for Odin Smith, because uh, yeah, we have been very harsh on Odin Smith in this podcast. Especially, I have been very harsh on Odin Smith in our podcast. But to be very fair, I think Sam Curran will add that death overs bowling. Odin Smith was not doing that, and he was not even adding to the batting talent that they had, because they already had all these fire explosive players. They need stability, and I think Rajapaksha. Yeah, Rajapaksha is another player. I think he's a misfit in Punjab Kings right now because he'll not
But
get the game
Rajapaksa
time.
can be a good like replacement for someone like Johnny Bairstow. In case Johnny Bairstow is unfit, then Rajapaksa can
But
actually
then
walk
again,
into the
Sikandar
team.
Raza will sit in the bench. Sikandar Raza will not be
Second
picked
Rasa
up.
have to sit in the bench, unfortunately.
That's very unfortunate then. Yeah, and you don't have experienced batters. Leave apart Shikhar Dhawan. Okay, Johnny Bairstow, Shikhar Dhawan, world class openers. They can, but then again, they'll heavily rely on this opening pair to do the job for them, to set a platform from where Liam Livingston, Shah Rukh Khan, Jitesh Sharma can explode. And I think that is going to be what they'll be actually aiming for. But auction wise, I think it's an average auction for them. They have got Sam Curran, which has really stabilized their ship, because last time around, if you remember, we were very critical that they did not have enough runs to defend in the last 10 overs. Arshdeep Singh was doing a job single-handedly because Kagiso Rawada was not in the best of forms. So with Sam Curran coming in, that slot is filled. Also, I think Sam Curran can be used as a floater. He can come in at number three, number four, like Chennai Super Kings used him at times. I think he can do the job at number three for the side when needed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and with 18.25 crores, I expect Punjab Kings to slot in Sam Curran at number three in some matches for
In
sure.
case if you want to take on a spinner, in case you're playing on surface where you are going to face a leg spinner or a slow left arm spinner. So that's going to be interesting to see how they strategically use Sam Curran in those positions. For me personally, that's going to be the lineup top six. I like to really see how they use Raj Bawa. I hope he gets an extended run because there's so much of talent in Raj Bawa. Remember, he also got a call up into the India A squad in one of the matches. He was also man of the match against New Zealand A, where he picked up 4 wickets. So there's a lot of potential and talent in Raj Bawa to actually become a very high quality fast bowling all rounder. So it's up to Punjab Kings to nurture them. We've rarely seen Punjab Kings nurture talent. I think Harshdeep Singh
And
is the
I
only
think
name
Shah
which
Rukh
can
Khan
come to
has
mind.
run its course. I think Shah Rukh Khan, he can be a part of the team only as a replacement for Raj Bawa. I think Raj Bawa should definitely start ahead of Shah Rukh Khan in this season. Given a choice at number
It's
six.
very funny because Shah Rukh Khan 1 season ago was that one main player everybody wanted. He was one of the biggest buys
But
as well.
yeah, that is what the exact problem of this side is. There are so many one-dimensional players. I mean, they just come in and go after the bowling. There is Jitesh Sharma who can adapt and play a different kind of role. But Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingston are see the ball, hit the ball sort of a player. And then you also
I
have
think Shikhar Dhawan will have a huge role to play in this team to play
huge
through
role
the
to play.
innings.
And with captaincy coming in, that is why I said he did not have a choice. Shikhar Dhawan did not have a choice to get out of this. They don't have a captaincy material. They did not do very good in the auctions. They don't have enough options when it comes to the Indian bench. They have foreign firepower, but when it comes to the Indian bench, not enough.
Absolutely. I think let's go to the next team now because
Also,
uh,
just to end on that, I think I want Nathan Ellis to get a chance for Punjab Kings.
if
If
Kagiso
Kagiso,
Rabada goes on to have a
yeah,
very bad season, I think
yeah.
Nathan, it
If
falls for
Kagiso
Nathan Ellis
Rabada
to
does
come
not
into.
perform for the first 3-4 games, just get in Nathan Ellis, because he's one of the best upcoming fast bowlers right now, according to me. I really love to see Nathan Ellis come in and bowl, especially in those middle overs, and sort of get a grip on the game. He's a wicket taker. He does not give you too much room to capitalize and go after the bowling. And I think he'll be a very good option for them, especially because you have Sam Curran and Arshdeep Singh to do the job for you in the death overs.
Absolutely. I think we can go to the next team. The defending champions is none other than the Gujarat Titans. Had a very, very, very good season last time around. Outstanding, went on to win the championship, played with a lot of grit, got in players at the right time, used them to the best of effects. Does not have the best of squads if you look them on the paper, but they've really utilized the squad, really made optimum utilization of every resources they've had in terms of their bowling. They were top notch. They had a Lockie Ferguson whom they traded off to Kolkata Knight Riders. They have a Mohammad Shami and Alzari Joseph alongside Rashid Khan. A lot of finishers in their squad, one can say so. Likes of Matthew Wade, likes of David Miller, Rahul Tewatia, Hardik Pandya. So a lot of finishers in their squad is one thing which you will find. Jalen, coming to you there, how do you see this team? Because one team which we did not really like at the start of the last season was the Gujarat Titans. How far do
Yeah.
you think they're fed up in this auction so far? Because in terms of the accusations, they're very smart in getting someone like a Joshua Little who made a name for
Yeah.
himself through the World Cup. and he could be a likely replacement for someone like a Lockie Ferguson, because Lockie Ferguson was traded off to the Kolkata Knight Riders camp as well. So, Jalen, coming to you on this, how do you see this team lining up?
I think overall I've loved the way they've gone about in their auction. There wasn't much for them to do because they had a team already on paper. Most of these players that we did not like initially able did go on to do well in IPL, and then even after the IPL they've done well. So it's like if you end up in Gujarat Titans, you become a very good player all of a sudden. That's what we saw with Gujarat Titans, and this time's auction, all they had to do was build layers on top of what they already had. One buy though, I think Kane Williamson for me, I don't know if he's the right person here. Like I really felt Kane Williamson might go unsold because he's just had a horrible time. Even after the IPL, he's not done well at all. He's not really. He's been a burden even on the New Zealand team. I mean, not the right word to use maybe for a legend like for a great player like him, but that's what he has been, especially for the T20 team in for New Zealand. So a bit surprised there. I felt Joe Root would have done a much better job in the role that Gujarat Titans want him to play, want Williamson to play. But if he does go back, run the clock back, I think Williamson can be a player who can lengthen this batting lineup. Aside from that, Joshua Little, I think we spoke about how he could be a very good replacement for Sam Curran. And 4.4 crore, I think Joshua Little a decent enough value for money buy. Shivam Mavi, I think he might just have a new life, a new career, a new start to his
Yeah,
career.
I just
I
want
would
to
call
I
it
was
in
going to
Gujarat
ask you
Titans.
on that. What do you think about that acquisition? Because if you look at this team, Mohammad Shami is definitely a sure starter. Even if Shoaib Mami
Yeah,
is breaking into the squad, it could be just as a replacement, or in
correct.
case Gujarat Titans believes that Mohammad Shami will not be able to hold for the 14 games, they'll need to play someone like Shivam Mavi, because there's a lot of traveling involved in this year's IPL compared to the last season. So recovery and getting fit for the next game is going to be really tough for players like Mohammad Shami. So that's why you would want a young blood like Shivam Mavi to operate on surfaces which are going to be slower
Yeah.
and slower and low, where his height, where he's not going to let the ball to climb a lot, where his ball is going to skid and come straight into the wicket is going to be much more handier, isn't it?
No, I think for me, able Mavi might just start because remember last season there was one issue that Gujarat Titans had was a third seamer, right? They tried Darshan Nalkande, they tried Yash Dayal, they tried
But
Pradeep
they also
Sangwan.
went for
All
someone.
three
When
of
you have
them,
someone like Yash Dayal, Yash Dayal had a fantastic season. So there's no
yeah.
reason to not actually go in with Yash Dayal once again, because he's also a left arm option, and there's also a Sai
Hmm.
Sudarshan in their ranks as well.
Yeah.
Sai
Yeah,
Kishore,
I mean,
sorry.
you're right. They did try
Sai Kishore,
Yash
sorry.
Dayal, and Yash Dayal did a decent enough job. But I mean, that's one place where I feel Shivam Mavi has some chances. As you mentioned, you never know with the new season of IPL. This is his second season, and that's where second season is where you really make or break as an IPL player. First season, teams don't know much about you. They don't really see or research on a Yash Dayal when you have a Hardik Pandya or when you have a Kane Williamson now to be worried about. But now Yash Dayal might come into the plans of the teams because he is a third seamer. He could be someone who will come into ball in the middle overs as well. It's going to be interesting to see how well he does. That's why Shiva Mavi has an opportunity, I would say. But I feel with this Gujarat team, he will renew his career. He's got a very good management to look after him. He's got Ashish Nehra, the man himself, in the system. So you never know because I feel he might just come in handy with for this team.
Very interesting, as you mentioned that. Sandeep, coming to you, because we wanted to talk of course, about Kane Williamson's acquisition, because that was a very surprising call, because he was the first player up on the auction. Many thought he would go unsold, but then Gujarat Titans did raise the mantle for him, which meant that he will be playing for them. How do you see this team lining up? Because with this team, once again, the issue is going to be their top order. Shubman Gill, we know that he plays in a certain tempo. Hardik Pandya has taken up this role for Gujarat Titans, where he's batting with a lot of responsibility. At the same time, he's not the X factor. Hardik Pandya is going to come and get going. He's going to take his time. Number three is still an issue for this team, alongside the opening partner for Shubman Gill. So, will you have Matthew Wade batting at number one or two for this team, or at number seven? Because the Matthew Wade's preferred position in T20 cricket in the recent past has been number seven. Even whilst the Australian team did tour India, he preferred batting at number seven. He had a fantastic series batting at number seven there. So, what do you think should be Matthew Wade's ideal position in this team, alongside, if Matthew Wade is going to bat at number 7, who should be opening the batting with Shubman Gill?
The first question is whether Matthew Wade will get to play, because Riddhiman Shah, if he plays, then Matthew Wade will not even get to play.
But now the question is, will Riddhiman Saha get to play? Because he's had a very bad season with Tripura, and not just
But
that,
they also have the
KS
backup
Bharat
of
is
K.S.
another
Bharat.
acquisition they've had.
Yeah, I think KS Bharat is a great buy that they had. I think I would have been very happy if I would have seen a lot more top order batsmen or specialist batsmen in the newly bought categories for Gujarat Titans, because I think the bowling department was sorted. But the only problem that we had with Gujarat Titans throughout the last season was their depth in that batting. They got away with winning the trophy because Hardik Pandya was in great form, David Miller was unexpectedly in great form, Rahul Tewatia did an unbelievable job for them, and Rashid Khan was pulling off games for them with the bat when nobody expected him to. So they had the right players stepping up for them at the right time. But this sort of scenario is something that you will not expect to happen every time around. They had a fairy tale season like Rajasthan Royals had in 2008. So and we saw how Rajasthan Royals struggled to sort of keep that winning momentum, or get back to the top, get back on the top. They finally went on to play another final last season, so after a gap of 14 years. So Gujarat Titans, I think this time around they are going to struggle, because okay, they are the defending champions, they have their bowling lineup sorted, they have plethora of all-rounders, but that top order does not look good for me. Shubman Gill, heavily dependent on Shubman Gill to sort of get them off to a great start, because Riddhiman Shah did not have the best of seasons. If you want to try Matthew Wade at the top, or probably KS Bharat at the top, you can have Hardik Pandya coming in at number 3 doing the same job that he used to do. David Miller will come in at number 4 or number 5 depending on situations. There is Rahul Tewatia, but where is the depth? They had to try somebody like Sai Sudarshan, and I think with Sai Sudarshan, if you add Sai Sudarshan to that team, you will have all anchor sort of a players. Apart from David Miller, who can actually take on any bowler, I think Rahul Tewatia, we have been very vocal about the technical aspect of Rahul Tewatia's game, his over dependence on the leg side. But it's been working for him. My question throughout the last season was, what will happen if it does not work for them? But it did not. That situation did not arise, because these four players came in and performed in clutch situations every time the team needed them to do the job. But I don't think that history is going to repeat itself this time around, and I think they are going to struggle with that batting order that they have.
But
And
that's
just
something which we
adding
did see in the last season as well. But then they
and just adding
found a
Sai
way to
Kishore,
get
just
going.
adding KS Bharat and Kane Williamson in that mix are again anchor sort of a players. You don't have an explosive player who can come in and smack the ball from ball one, apart from David Miller and Rahul Tewatia, Rahul Tewatia before last season was a bowling all rounder. He was a bowling all rounder. He was popular because he was a bowling. He was popular for selection in the team because of his bowling efforts, not because of his batting efforts. But last season around, he changed it completely. And Rashid Khan did an exceptional job with the bat as well. You can't
Yeah.
expect that to happen all the time.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
totally
they,
understand that.
yeah.
But that makes a lot of
and
sense
and
as well. But
talking
even
about the
coming to
bowling,
you
I
here,
think with Shivam Mavi coming in, I don't see how they will fit. I understand that Shivam Mavi will
what
probably
do you
be
think
a
about the
replacement.
acquisition of someone like a Odean Smith for 50 lakhs as well? Because Shivamavi did, we did say that Shivamavi might start, might not start. That's still a question mark there. But someone like an Odean Smith on days where you need to play an all rounder, you can play an Odean Smith at number 8, number 7 for your team. You can also provide that extra bit of depth with the bat, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely provide an extra bit of depth with the bat for getting Odin Smith in that team. But then again, we have said that in the past that Odin Smith is not a number 7 batter. He can come in and slog. That's
Yeah.
all that he can do, and he has been brilliant in the T10 format. He has been very good in playing those 10 ball, 15 ball cameos. But in the longer formats, Odin Smith has not really stepped up either for his national side nor for the franchise that he has played for in IPL.
Yeah,
But he has
absolutely.
done a decent enough job in tournaments. Otherwise, I think getting in Joshua Little is a great replacement for Alzari Joseph in case he has a fitness issue, and also they had to fill in Loki Ferguson's shoes. So Joshua Little, I think, is a great addition. Uh, And again, I think they have had a decent auction. They had a balanced team, uh, but then again, the apart from the batting, I don't have any concern with the Gujarat Titans side. If whatever the players did in the last season, they can repeat their performance, I'll eat my words, and this will probably be something miraculous, that two or three bowling all rounders are completely changing their game in 2 seasons and uh, getting that match winning factor for them. But I don't see that happening this time around.
Especially when it comes to Gujarat Titans, right? There's something which has been working for them. But Jaren, now coming to the fact that number three has been a haunting position for this team, considering the number of considering the least number of players they've also gotten to fill that position. How do you see this team lining up? Because number three is a spot which is going to still elude them over a longer period of time. They still do not have that fixed number at fixed player at number three. There's a size Sudarshan they would want to try out. There's definitely Abhinav Manohar there, but still they're on the fixed number three for them. There were occasions where Hardik Pandya batted at number three. In this season, can you expect someone like an Abhinav Manohar to go out there and actually stamp as a third to number three, or a KS Bharat to stamp as a third number three? For me personally, I like to see KS Bharat batting at number three for this team because I think he fits in perfectly into the number three position what this team needs. Then you can open the batting with either Matthew Wade or you can open the batting with someone like Riddhiman Saha if it needs to be.
Yeah, I think that's
And if
probably
you
the way to
play
go.
KS Bharat, I think with Riddhiman Saha not being in the best of forms and Matthew Wade also, if you don't want to play Matthew Wade for that opening slot, you can probably have KS Bharat opening the innings for you along with Shubman Gill as well.
Yeah.
No, I think KS Bharat is my number three pick, guys, because I feel he is a player who could do that job for RCB as well. And I think with Delhi he was not utilized at all. He was a player I felt he was another player that I felt whose IPL career almost got jeopardized because he was picked up by Delhi. And now that he's out of the way, I think he is the pick who they'll be banking upon to do that job, and I think he can do it. I really feel Case Bharat is a talent that is gone a little underused, and that's the reason why his career is kind of in a doldrum. And this IPL could be again, he could be a player who could really come back in terms of his stocks, right? I think this IPL could see his stocks rise, and if he does not do well, I think this Gujarat team will really struggle because they need a player like him to hold this team together. And that's where you're right. This number three position is a soft underbelly of the Gujarat Titans team, without doubt. I think having said that, also again, Williamson being brought by this team, he could be a good player for the number three spot, but again, because the amount of foreigners they have, right? They have
If you're
Miller, they
playing
have
Matthew
Matthew
Wade as an
Wade.
opener, would you rather play Kane Williamson as an opener? Because with Kane Williamson, there's an assurity that if Kane Williamson gets going, he can give you that 400 run season as well. Because that's what Kane Williamson can bring into the team, right? There's a lot of experience, there's a lot of dynamism which he can bring. There's a lot of leadership acumen as well, which he carries, which makes this team a well-rounded setup as well.
I don't know, Abel, is there an assurity that he'll have a 400 run season? That's the biggest issue. With Kane Williamson, you always had an insurance, but now the way he's been playing, especially in the shorter format,
And
that
also, how
assurance
many
is
balls is he
gone.
going to consume in being
Exactly.
going
And
on to score
that's the
that
kind of player
400
he
runs?
is, right? He isn't an Andre Russell or a Maxwell kind of a player. If they're out of form, they'll get out in two deliveries. But a Maxwell, a Virat Kohli, that's the problem with them being out of form. Because if they're out of form, they'll consume 15, 20 deliveries before playing a rash shot or playing a missed shot and then getting out. And this 20 deliveries are lost to you. So I don't know if that's the way to go because I still feel if you look at the finishers, right? Yeah, they've got Miller, they've got Tewatia, but then I think Matthew Wade being added there is an assurance, is an added bonus. You can still expect a Miller to play a number five, number four kind of a role where you can expect him to transition from a 7 or 8 runs per over to a 10 to 11, 12 runs per over. So I think Miller and KS Bharat are the two players who I would entrust the responsibility to play that linchpin role for me.
Very interesting. But now let's go to the next team, the final team of the day. It's been a long analysis. So we
We've
reach
had
the
a
final.
test match session.
Yeah, it's a test match session and a whole T20 match. That's
We
what
have
it's been
had a
for.
we have had close to 3 hours, right? So it's more
Yeah.
than a test match session, especially in Bangladesh, because you have bad lights and then people tend to.
Yeah, I don't watch test matches in Bangladesh because I don't get to see the ball and the bat. It's just all misty out there, guys. But let's put the last team. It is Lucknow Super Giants. The team which actually had a very good run in the last edition's IPL went on to play the playoffs. Got of course knocked out in the eliminator, but nonetheless a team who impressed a lot of fans out there because they had a very good balance. They of course had KL Rahul leading the way in terms of run scoring alongside Quinton de Kock, and they had balance in terms of bringing stuff like a Marcus Story. They also had a Jason Holder last time around. Kunal Pandey did step up when it mattered for them. A team which has got enough depth in terms of their resources. One player which really impressed a lot of fans or a lot of cricketing pundits was Mohsin Khan, who had a breakout season with the Lucknow Super Giants. But since the last match he played in IPL, he's not played a single game of cricket. So that's a worrying sign for the Lucknow Super Giants in terms of the build-up. Ravi Bishnoi is a very impressive bowler. Mark Wood will be playing this season. So if Mark Wood stays fit, that's a huge, huge bonus for them. And alongside Avesh Khan, who's not been in the best of form. So when it comes to their bowling, there are holes. At the same time, there are some positives as well. So it's a mix for them. But when it comes to their batting, one of the biggest buys, Nicholas Puran for 16 crore, will definitely start the debate on that. How do you see Nicholas Puran fitting into this team? Of course, he's another wicket-keeping option alongside KL Rahul and Quinton de Kock. Do you see him batting at number 4 for this team after Deepak Huda?
Definitely, and I
Definitely,
think
but
he is a player
yeah.
that they needed. He's a player that they needed because they were trying Evan Lewis. They had bought in Evan Lewis, and they are a top three heavy side, and they did not have a place for Evan Lewis. So I think they gave away Evan Lewis, brought in Nicholas Puran, the best sort of I mean, all the West Indies top order batsmen, left-handed Shimran Hetmeyer, Nicholas Puran, Evan Lewis are all replacements for each other. So they have the same sort of style
You also
of
have Kyle
player.
Myers, right?
Yeah, Kyle Myers. So I think if I was in the Lucknow Super Giants shoes right now after the auction, I would be very happy because Lucknow Super Giants was another team who was heavily reliant on their all-rounders, bowling all-rounders to do the job for them with the bat as well. Because Quinton de Kock, you think about it, top three, Quinton de Kock, KL Rahul in great form. Then you had Deepak Huda who was doing a superb job at number three, and then suddenly nothing. The Ayush Badoni showed some promise early on in the season, faded away towards the later half of the season, and there was no one who could come in and step in at number four for them, and that is one of the main reasons that they lost the game, that they lost in the qualifiers because. They had one of the eliminator. I mean, they had one of the best, more balanced teams to go on and win it. It's just that they did not have enough batting depth to sort of chase down that high total that RCB scored in that game. So I think all in all, with this auction, Nicholas Puran coming in, and also if you think about the all-rounders section, you have given away Jason Holder. I understand that, but Daniel Sams comes in, and you also have Romario Shepherd, and I think Lucknow Super Giants have done a great job buying these all-rounders at a very low cost. I mean, they have had steal buys. They had particular players in mind. Romario Shepherd is a very particular player. I mean, Sharfin Rutherford went unsold, and I think I was expecting Rutherford to get a bid, but he did not. Romario Shepherd was in the Sunrisers camp in the last season,
Yeah.
and they were really struggling in that middle order with the bat
They got some very
early on.
interesting buys on the base price, right? After that huge spending day they had with Nicholas Puran, look at the other buys they had. They had Naveen Ulap at base price. Then Amit Mishra, which I thought was a very interesting buy at base price, alongside Daniel Samson, Romario Shepherd, who was a 7 crore buy in the last auction for the Sunrisers Hyderabad team. So they've had some really, really interesting.
And also
Swapnil Singh is another
Unatkat
interesting
for
buy.
best price
Anurag
at
Mankad.
in the form that he's. I think if you compare the 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21 season where Unatkat went for 13 crores, 8 crores, I think he has been in the best bowling form right now rather than when in
But
2018,
but that's
19 when.
also a different format, Sandeep Mani, because right now he's
No,
balling
not
the
just
red ball
different
format.
formats. I think he'll is just experience because Umesh Yadav was not was not getting those bids, higher bids in IPL. Suddenly he came in the last season, made a name for himself. And if you give Jaydev Unadkat the opportunity with the ball early on, you have to understand Mohsin Khan is not fit. Mohsin Khan was doing the majority of the talking with the ball early on in the innings, and also you had Chamira. So they have given away Chamira because Mark Wood, they believe that Mark Wood will be fit and available for this one. So you have Mark Wood coming in, but Mark Wood will only bowl 1 or 2 overs up front, and they'll save Mark Wood for the later half of the innings. So
Yeah,
and also with Chamira, they had that early bowling option. Chamira and Mohsin Khan were the frontline bowlers, were the bowlers that were getting Lucknow Super Giants off to a start. And with
yeah.
both of them probably not being there in the camp, I think Jaydev Unadkat is going to play a important role in that side. They might even slot in Jaydev Unadkat ahead of Mohsin Khan if Mohsin Khan is not 100% fit. And
Yeah,
also
yeah,
you have
that makes
Avish
sense.
Khan to handle the matters in the
And also
middle
Mark
parts
Wood
of the
being there is a huge, huge bonus for them. Jen,
huge
coming to
bonus.
you with this team, because we've seen a lot of dynamic changes with this team, and there's a lot of dynamism about this team is with Marcus Troyan is there, Ravi Bishnoi there, alongside Nicholas Pooran now, and also add Ayush Badone towards the latter half in the batting order with Krunal Pandya. How do you see this team really playing it out? Because Deepak Huda should be batting at top three. That's one thing which a lot of people will agree. Yeah, and Deepak Huda himself will say that he is better suited batting at number three for this team, and he's done a very good job there. But if you have to slot in, maybe someone like who do I say? If you want to slot in an Ayush Badoni there or a Karan Sharma who had a decent season in the domestic circuit, how do you go about it? Because Krishnappa Gautam is another favorite of this team to be slotted in. In the last season, you saw Ayush Badoni being dropped so that Krishnappa Gautam can be slotted in. There's also someone like Daniel Sams in this squad. So if you want to make changes in terms of bringing some all rounders, how does this team go about?
I think for me, Daniel Sams probably makes his way instead of decent holder. So that's pretty much straightforward then and there. In terms of Gautam, Krishnappa Gautam and Badoni, I think I still rate Badoni a lot higher. I feel Krishnappa Gautam, first of all, I don't think they need Krishnappa Gautam's role in this team is to be a batter. And I don't think that's the kind of role he can play. I think Badoni is someone who's still a batting all rounder than a bowling all rounder, and Krishnappa Gautam is a bowling all rounder. So, having said that, I don't think he really fits in that middle order. Nicholas Pura is a great buy because now they get a player who you can bank on in comparison to Evan Lewis. Evan Lewis was on and off player, even though he had a very good, what do you say, IPL season last time around. But I still reckon Nicholas Pura is a better, more reinforced buy. What really worries me, Abel, or what really can make or break the season is really their right arm pacers, right? Avesh Khan, we really don't know where he is in terms of form ever since he's been dropped by the Indian team. Mark Wood, again, he's very injury prone. He has been injury prone for a long time. We've seen that you cannot really rely on Romario Shepherd in terms of line and length, let alone ball 4 overs. And so whom do you really have? We don't know if Jaydev Unatkar is going to bring in that rising Pune Super Giants form to rising, what do you say, to Lucknow Super Giants. And Naveen ul Haq again. Naveen ul Haq is a great bowler when you pair him up with Fazal Haq Faruqi. We don't know how much he can
But it
be.
also depends on where they're going to play, right? There are two home grounds which are yet to be shortlisted. One is the Green Park Stadium in not, I think it's Green Park Stadium in Kanpur,
In Kanpur,
and
yeah.
Ekana Stadium in Lucknow. So
Lucknow.
they're still unsure where they have to play. In Ekana Stadium in Lucknow, on good surface, you will aid a lot of turn where you can actually play a Jaydev cut,
And
or you
Green
can
Park
play.
able is by its namesake is Green Park. It helps fast bowlers as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
It is a good track to ball for players who like to get the ball moving off the deck. So I think Avish Khan, for instance, will enjoy it. Jaydev Unatkar will enjoy it. But again, I think there is a lot of uncertainty there in terms of their availability and form. This team, if you know these players, if they do well on an ideal day, they're a very good fast bowling attack. Mark Wood, Avish Khan, Jaydev Unatkar, they have potential, but can they really bring it out on the pitch is the biggest question because
yeah,
they really rely on these players. If you look at the spinners, if you look at the spinners, all they have got is really Krunal Pandya. Everyone
yeah,
else are
and
not
Bishnoi
exactly established players. So
and
they need
Bishnoi. That's
Mohsin Khan, Jaydev Unatkar, Avish Khan, and Mark Wood to be fit. And to
it.
be very honest, I think Green Park is a better stadium for them.
Yeah, makes sense. I think that's about it from us in terms of this team analysis. I think we're 3 hours into the live and we're still going strong. We can still go for another 10 teams if need be. But
I don't
that's
know if
about
I
it.
know.
Yeah, I think I'm asking a lot
I
out of it.
I
I
had
think,
a terrible throat early on, and
I think
I've been
Sandeepani
coughing
just
extremely.
slept for 10 minutes when I was talking about Lucknow Super Giants. He's like,
yeah,
No, no,
Kolkata is
I
that
think,
I.
winning.
I
I
mean, with
think,
with Lucknow Super Giants, I already made my point. You don't
yeah,
actually
I
have
think that's about
too
it.
much to add on.
I think we should call it a day right here. Merry Christmas to all of you who are celebrating it across
Merry
the
Christmas,
world.
yeah.
A great way
Yeah,
to
just
start
just
the
take up
Christmas
Aisha's
season.
question, no?
What does she say? Sorry, guys, I love PSL more than IPL. I mean, it's her choice.
I
I mean,
I think so did Ramiz Raja, and we saw what
that's why he
happened
got
with him.
sacked. So I just don't like that. So Ramesh Raja has gone the wrong way. So as so many others in Pakistan cricket board, it's a changing system. Every 4 months you get a new selector, new coach, new chairman. So that's how it works in Pakistan cricket. We'll have a detailed episode on that later on. But good night, all of you. Merry Christmas. Once again, have a brilliant Christmas. Enjoy it with your family, friends, and celebrate it. Good way for us to start the Christmas by talking cricket and analyzing everything in depth. And once again, remember to play all the fantasy contests with Boomer 11. There's IPL, which will start in 3 months' time. But before there's a lot of the South Africa was Australian series, which will start. The second test match will start on the Boxing Day, so there's plenty of
And
action
the
for
India
you. There's
versus
football
Bangladesh will conclude tomorrow.
conclude
The
tomorrow, but
series
India
will
Sri
get
Lanka
concluded
starts
tomorrow.
January 3rd. So there's a lot of cricketing action for you to play, and there's also different Premier Leagues. There's IL T20, there's SA T20. There's
There is BBL
lot
going
of
on right
cricket
now.
across. A lot of cricket out there. BBL out there. So have a good time, all of you. Take care, stay safe, and see you all once again very very soon. Good night.
Good night, guys.